I agree. It's a punchy course. There's no long, really sustained climbs, but the impact racers have a lot to work with out there. It's one of those like a thrill ride. It never really stops. So it's certainly a race where attentiveness is the name of the game. I'm going to expect. So as we jump in, this is such a competitive division. When you look through all of the different categories of racing that we have, I think if pound for pound, ounce for ounce, this is the best racing we're probably going to see all day happening here. And that's usually the case. So they're going to get right after it here. The aqueduct. I look at that as the pinch point here. It's a deceived. I guess racers who want to blow the race to bits, they got plenty to work with right there.
Yeah, and apologies, everybody. I see you in chat. Nathan was a little bit quiet there. I appreciate everybody. We had only Nathan and Dave's here, but at least Dave could hear me talking about what course we're on. And everybody, we're out. So can you help me with the pronunciation? I'm always
I got it.
the word. You got it for
Yes.
me. Dave's always the best on this stuff. Go ahead, Dave.
So I don't know if I'm the best, Nathan, but it's one of my very few times I get to really contribute as part of your team here. So the Grand Boucle is what they call the Tour de France. They have going back 100 years. The big circle. That means this is Petit Boucle, little circle that we're racing on. But we did use this course in the virtual Tour de France. It was a feature course for sure. There is so much excitement, Nathan, right now. I've been so impressed with the work that you guys have been doing behind the scenes. It's everything that's coming out. This is going to be one of the feature courses, also with World Championships and now the excitement around Nations Cup announcement. I know that you've got a lot to serve up here. This is maybe the most exciting month in esports racing history, I'd have to say, what we've got going on right now. And that's including virtual Tour de France, because some of the names, like again, Martin from WTRL, he is our man, The Rock. And I just saw Martin mentioning that Mark Cavendish, Chris Hoy, Anna Vanderbreggen, there's going to be some recon races going on. Well, that's Watopia Figure Eight, isn't it? But today we're talking about Petit Boucle. I just gave you the longest answer that you could possibly imagine to your question, Nathan. I'm going to throw it back to you. I'm just as stoked as you are, I think, right now. Let's get it on.
Yeah, and just real quickly, just as a reminder, because the announcement did just go out as well, in the build-up to the 2020 UCI World Championships that is going to be taking place on December 9th. You do not want to miss that, but we also have a great announcement in the community that's all about the Nations Challenge. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the video about that and give you guys a little bit of details afterwards. So the Nations Challenge out on Zwift. It's going to be awesome. Here are the countries that can be represented. It's a chance to compete and represent your nations. It doesn't come around very often. And this time, you're all going to be working together. Essentially, it's a Nations TTT, time trial, massive group. Throughout December 5th and 6th, Zwifters will be able to race a 50-kilometer lap of the 2020 UCI Cycling Esports World Championship course, Figure 8 Reverse, finishing at the Watopia King of the Mountain with the aim of completing the race in the shortest time. Nations will then be ranked on an aggregate time to determine top 3 nations. The top 22 countries by Zwift subscriptions will have 2 events each, 44 in total, to set the fastest average time, which will then be ranked and added to the Zwift Nations Challenge League. Additional 2 events for the rest of the world will also take place. The top fastest 10% and slowest 10% of times will be discounted in the average time of your country calculated, so be sure to work together to achieve the fastest possible time. Pretty awesome, Dave. I'm really excited that Zwift is doing this for the community. It's not just all about the fastest in the world at the very top of the world championships, which we're all going to be looking to see what the pinnacle of our racing is out on Zwift, obviously. But it's also about being able to participate all week long, as you were saying, with the podcast rides that are coming up, as well as the Nation's Challenge. It's pretty cool weeks coming up here.
Am I allowed to ride?
100%. Let's go, Dave.
Okay.
Dave is going to ride.
Well, I don't want to be part of the bottom 10%, so I need to know. So obviously we're both American, and so I'm assuming, Nathan, that you're not changing nationalities on us for any bizarre reason. You don't hold a Canadian passport or anything, do you?
No.
Some secret that you've kept from me? Okay. All right. So we're on the American team. This is the first time we've ever ridden as teammates. So obviously the top 10 and bottom 10% are going to be thrown out. So there's got to be a tactic here then, like our team time trials that we do with WTRL every Thursday and part of the ZRL here, where the stronger riders would want to help me, right, to get a better time because it's all going to be averaged out.
That's everyone's thinking about, Dave, is helping you. That's 100% all everybody is thinking about.
All right, great.
Let's take a look here at the men's standings here for EMEA East Division 1. Kirchme Angry Bees, 107. 107 at the top. Foodsray and Kirschmer are going to be battling. Today is a day for these kind of battles. We saw it yesterday in the men's and the women's, so I think we're going to see some very hotly contested Aqueduct and sprints in just a moment here. Cryo RDT Men 105, Fusion ECT, BZR Sports Solid Esports Team Red, Vision EMEA East, DBRRT, CCNS Mighty Mallards, WTRL Volendam, followed up by the Zero Team. Good to see them. 65 points there. And in the Bees, Dave, we're going to head through these pretty quick as they're coming in this first sprint in the men.
Hey, yeah, you bet. You could see how close it was. Not quite the same story here. DBR Tornadoes on top as they've been dominating in the Bees. So this is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. We'll be going over to the West a little bit later in the day. But right now, this is the East Division Bees. Two guys, Z, Montejunto, in second, Belgian Zwift Riders third, and then you can see it's Eva Vortex, Wolfpack, SZ Mimer, SZ Heimdall, Cryogen, the Zonkelons, the Belgian Zwift Rider Lions 2, Kirkmeyer Honeybees. That's your top 10 right now in the Bees.
Vikings Valhalla, 114, 2 points difference between them and Team Type 1 Sharps. Then it's going to be the Beachmaster Pro, I'm going to say 100 points. Good little gap between the top of three, or between them and the second place, though. I think it's going to be SZ Vale looking to chase them down in fourth right now. Team Italy, WTRL Caprica, they are right up against each other. Now, I'm hearing that is a reference to Battlestar Galactica. We might actually stop in with them in the C category out there today. Evo Court 1, they're in seventh place, followed up by Cryogen Icerin, and then Crank Up the Dirt, followed up by Belgian Zwift Riders Rhinos in second place there. Or excuse me, in 10th place.
Hey, I'll take the D's from the top here with Vikings Osberg, 105 points as they've been absolute monsters. SJ Frey in second here. This is going to be two guys, Z Psycho sitting in third, and this is going to be really close, second and third and fourth, Kirkmeyer Bumblebees in fourth. Then you've got the BZR, Belgian Zwift Riders, the Gorillas 1 outfit. In fifth, sixth is Cryogen Koppenberg, Zesp Chinchillas in seventh, GC on the Mend in eighth, Newberry Velo Lions in ninth, and then rounding out your top 10 is the PRCC Delta Squad. So that's a look at your top 10 in all of our different categories. The women are going to be out racing here as well. We fit them in between, so we'll start here with the men. We'll have our European women and then our European men coming out of the West. So, all right, we're locked and loaded. This is not a drill. Big time bike racing is underway on Petit Boucle. They raced yesterday. It was great racing. Nathan, if you, as you mentioned, they really did whittle the front group down. Typically, I'll be surprised if we see much more than 10 riders in the mix when it comes down to the finale here. And boy, that finish line comes up on you quick too. You'll definitely notice that. It goes bananas there at the end of the race. So pick it up with the Fusion ECT rider Coleman here. This is going to be with the men's A's, and we'll bounce around. So we got a lot of racing coming your way. It's important to remember that today the points, it's all tabulated based on team, 20 points. As we saw those tables there, maximum number of points you could win based on all of your riders' efforts out here. So we kind of take it from individual and then condense it down into the team. So points are gathered along the way. We have some bonus sprints. You'll see those showing up. Kings of the Mountain in this case. And then also we will ultimately, though, sort it 20 for the top team, 19 for second. And that's why, with this being the seventh, we're down to it. Not many races remaining here, not many points remaining on the table.
Yeah, we're flying right on into the first sprint here. This little section here through the trees kind of hides it off in the distance, but there is a city coming up here in just a moment. Looks like we got Ovette in the race out here today, riding for WLC. So Wahoo Cole picking up a rider here.
Wow.
Interesting to see. Laverick's been on the recruitment train, it looks like.
It's funny. I was just thinking of Freddie Ovett, Nathan. It's fun. I was looking at the World Championships, and you know how there's always those riders that come out of the woodwork? When you have the guys that know how to play the game of Zwift, the gamification, as I do see we have an attack. I'll let you pick that up, Nathan, as I don't want to talk over the top of someone making a super effort.
A little bit of a dig. Yeah. That's going to be Eddie Huo. This is a rider to watch out for. 7.2 off the front here. Don't want to let him escape too much. Now, it's an interesting move. Is it going to... Now, the timing's pretty good if it does calm down in and amongst the pack waiting for the sprint. That might be what he's anticipating, is that the riders aren't going to want to waste too much and just trust that it's going to pull back together. But if they sleep on it, Volendam doesn't look like they are, and they're putting a man on the front to do some work, it looks like, at 6.5.
Yeah. So, yeah, when you look at it, Uli is one of the strongest riders in the peloton. So you're not going to play around with that. Although I think it's maybe even more for bonus points right now at this point in the race. Nobody would be thinking that you're going to make a breakaway from this far out with this many strong riders here. So absolutely. And we're looking at Volendam, another one of the teams to watch out here. Yeah, this is such a competitive group, Nathan. And that's the thing. All of the different divisions, they all have their super strong riders. There's going to be the mega stars out there. It's the depth, isn't it, from Europe, where you, instead of having 20, 30 strong guys, it's more like you have 50 to 80 guys that can keep their head above water for, you know, all the way to the finale, possibly, depending on the course that you're racing on. There's no doubt that there's horses for courses.
Look at how this is ramping up already here, Dave. I mean, they are really driving to try and get to the front end. Soren Bay is now. We're seeing Volendam now off the front. This is super early. What is happening here? Up at 10 watts per kilogram, and they're out over a kilometer out at this point. So major move. Garnier, I have never seen this sprint attached this way, but it looks like they're going for it.
Well, and Nathan, they've never really gone this aggressively for the bonus points, have they? You know, if you think back,
I think a lot of them watched the Premier League, and I have a feeling because they saw how it worked out, and as well as earlier in APAC, and a lot of these points, because there's so many on offer, and this is the first time I've seen an escape like this work out, and with so many on offer, I think it's going to change up the reality of the day. You know, taking these down today, I think, is going to have a major impact on the end result. And so grabbing the points here, it does look like it was the early attack by Lehman here. Go ahead and take a quick look, though, at the replay and say how that played out here, because that was a very, very solid attack.
Well, it was Maillard, I think, over the line first, Florent Maillard, that you've been with here. Yeah, boy. Let's see what happens now. What kind of damage was done? We've got a long way to race. Again, there's not a significant amount of climbing out here on Petit Boucle, but there's enough. It comes at you with a rhythm where, they whittle this group down quite a bit. I mean, they're pressing up against 50K an hour right now. We're going to go back and take a look at a replay here.
And it looked like, going back here a little bit, it was going to be Lehman from Volendam first across the line, and then the second one coming across the line was going to be Maillard, followed up by Maxence Jeannot. I believe it's Jeannot, followed up by Bauman. But that's WLC, but that was for fourth, because it's only up to the third across the line. 3 points, but every single one of them matters. So, Heiko, is that going to be Heiko that we're seeing there? Heiko Lehman, Volendam, followed up by Florent Maillard, and then Maxime Jeannot. Both for Fujay. And Fujay, that's the battle actually at the top, as we did see in the standings overall. uh, earlier when we set those up on screen. I believe that this is a battle that is playing out in front of us here with the men's side of things, with Kirchner Fudre following them a little bit further down at 69 points in ninth place. So really, it's Kirchner Angry Bees. Now we do have another setup here. It looks like, and we are going to miss this just for a moment here. Sorry, everybody. Seeing if we can grab the front end, just barely. Kirchner, there we go. Just got him. It's Kirchner, Hoffman, Hansen. It looks like across the line. And Kirchner with the Angry Bees, I think that's going to be good for them as they're tied up currently at 107 Fujre. So definitely a battle here for those points. Taking three, actually. Neck and neck still here for that top spot as they're both tied at 107. Remember that for this day here with this current standings. We can take another look at that real quickly here because that's going to be important for all these points play out. As you do see here, Kirchner, Angry Bees, and Fujre both at 107. CryoRDT are right behind them. Well, watch out for CryoRDT. We did see those early attacks coming through from them, so we may, that we may start seeing them in the later sections of the race, or perhaps they're just waiting for the big 40 at the end there, Dave.
Yeah, it's. I'm just looking at that the table there, the points table. After all of this racing, it's going to be an absolute dogfight out here, and yeah. So when you look at the bonus points, have never mattered as much. It's interesting when the way you break down the points with starting with 40 down to 35 per second, and then there's a lot of points for really the top 8 riders, and then it really diminishes where there's not much difference between a 12th, the 13th, the 14th, but there's a massive difference between first, second, and third. So getting riders up in the top 10, that's the one thing that the teams realized early on. It wasn't about winning the race with one rider, so you don't sacrifice the whole team. That's really it, isn't it, Nathan? You don't sacrifice everybody to get one rider up there. You use that really the strongest rider on your team to try to keep a couple others up in the top 10. And then it really, like any bike race, it comes down to either you have it or you don't for the finale. Look at Nystrom moving up right through the middle there. This is going to be, again, maybe we will see a bigger group making it to the finish today, Nathan. Actually, when I look at the quality of this field, I'm going to actually anticipate it is more than 15 riders today.
Yeah, we'll have to. I mean, I think more than 15, perhaps. I think you're right there. Now, I mean, we're already seeing the splits though off the back, and these riders here that are going off the back, they are burning matches to get back on terms here. If we look at the numbers that are here, it does go down to, I mean, there's 50, 60 riders still involved here. Again, attacks off the front. They are taking it pretty calm at this point, but they are going to be heading into a section of, now, the intestines is how I'm not, Anna actually did some great research and she was saying that absolutely perfectly earlier in in the French actual French pronunciation, but the intestines as they're called here coming up, that section of course I think puts in a lot of hurt, and then it's followed up by that long climb. There's no points on the climb, but people try and really separate things for about 3 to 5 minutes or so. I think that puts enough sting in the legs before the aqueduct and the sprint that come immediately afterwards. And there's so many points on the line through the aqueduct and the sprint after that King of the Mountain. I think that there's been a lot of struggling to hang on, but I have a feeling you're right. 20, maybe 25 riders coming to the line here with such a talented field.
Nathan, let's talk about Freddie Ovitt really quickly. As we're with the Evo team, that's another squad that's going to be really well represented. But it is interesting. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember. And Ovitt has had some big wins in 2019, but I think we're seeing as the ebb and the flow of regular road season and esports seasons go. I have a feeling, unless you've seen him racing and I missed it, because he does come from down under, but he would race up in our North American time zone, which would typically mean racing really early in the morning or really, really early, like 2 o'clock in the morning. I guess that's more late at night, isn't it? Depends on your perspective. But that's a game changer name. One name doesn't, though, guarantee that your team is going to take the top 20 points. You need a few other riders, but he's on a squad when you talk about Freddie Ovitt. That is one of the best teams that we have out here.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I'd be watching out for them because I think that Wahoo Nicole have stacked the team a little bit here today, especially with the climbs that are out here. Trying to break things apart, I think, will be the name of the game once there's a couple of matches burned. I think they're going to be waiting for those climbs out here. We're coming into another sprint section. We do have VCRT here on the front, but no, it's going to be again Wolfpack now to the front, though, with Dirt. Florent here from Food Tray kind of come through, but Lehman here looks like they're from Volendam going to make it happen. Perhaps it's right to the line, and it's going to be Food Tray is going to take it out. It looks like what a kick. Kirchmer unable
Huh.
to come through, and that is a rare occurrence actually to see Kirchmer and
Sure
Angry
is.
Bees beat. That's for sure. So solid result there for Food Tray. Lehman was right on the wheel there. We'll take a look at in just a moment at the points, but take a look at the replay
Well,
there
Steph,
for how that sprint went out.
Stefan's not getting any slower, Nathan. He's just really getting challenged because we're down to it, right? These points that will be added into the points that the guys get at the finish line. Taking a look at a replay here. So that's going to be Stefan Kirkmeyer in the yellow and black jersey here, the Austrian. But he's not quite going to get there. Second place last time, but Maillard gets it, Nathan. Well, I guess I'd have to look at the back
Right
end
at
API.
the line. I mean, yeah, it looks like he did. It does look like on our side that he did, and just out the back, Lehman. But Lehman was able to grab some points before too, so pretty consistent here, coming on through. Pretty consistent all the way through for the Volendam team. Take a quick look at the points and how they ended up playing out here. And that is going to be there 5 points. Kirchmer able to take a solid 5 total so far. Heike Lehman there with that 4, so he did take third across the line there. And it's going to be 2 and 1 and 1 for the rest of the teams out there. VCRT able to grab 2 points though still. Solid ride there. So all back together, and they're going to do this little roundabout for a moment, and then as you can see in the mini map in the upper right-hand corner, they will be heading on over to the intestines are on the upper left-hand side of the map. Well, now lower left-hand side of the map now. Does look like a couple of splits have happened again as these sprint points come fast and fierce. And now Gombert off the back, actually, interesting enough. And Volendam, he's done his work. Looks like Lehman just showed up for the sprints today.
Yeah, boy, you're going to use your team, use role players there. Nathan, I did want to give a shout out to Stefan Kirkmeyer. Remember, was it Everything Bagel where we watched him win all 4 bonus sprints and taking the overall or winning the race as well that day? And that's been he's been a cornerstone for the Kirkmeyer Angry Bees team, no doubt. But these sprints, these bonus sprints, have been as hotly contested as any race that we've seen all year long. And we're deep into the Zwift Racing League. It's Community Day. This is the best. I mean, it's just racing all over the shop from when you start your day with Anna Russell and Kate Bates. They're a dynamo team. I love listening to those two, Nathan. I was out getting my morning walk in, the ritual walk in, and listening to those two puts a big smile on they both have such tremendous depth of experience, much like this group that we're looking at right now with Lupinetti is the rider that we're focusing in on. It's a big group. And again, so the front end of this race, Nathan, it's never mattered as much as it does out here today. That's a good way to put it, to tell you the truth. Now, as you get to this point, it's a virtual deadlock points-wise with another team. As I've said, Nathan, every now and then, you get 2 dogs fighting for a bone, and a third team will come along and take it. What you're really going to see, though, the biggest chance for getting points is going to be in the final team time trial, I think. Actually, you know what? That's an interesting conversation. At the end of the day, you might as well just race as hard as you can and let the chips fall where they may. That's going to be the Australian Freddie Ovid of Wahoo Nicole. It's great to see him jumping in here. That's one of the cool things about the league, too, Nathan, is there's a little flexibility as far as the riders that you start each week.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy the way that WTRL has set this up with being able to bring the horses for courses, as you would say, Dave. So, you're able to swap things out and look at the course recon, figure out who's going to be the best. And I absolutely love how the team aspect has really developed things here where everybody can kind of play a role, especially on a day like this where you can stack the team with some sprinters, stack the team with some climbers up front, get some work done, try and get somebody across the line for the scratch at the end, and really stack the points if you can. Now, bringing as many as you can to the line for the top three is going to be, if you can take all top three spots, obviously 40, 35, and 30 is going to be a huge run at the points. But with, one or two riders here going for that final points and then throwing some riders at the KOM as well as the sprint also is a great way to work. Now, here we do have the intense settings, and this is going to be a difficult section because you can lose the wheels through each of these corners. It also has a lot of little ups and downs. You do see 3%, 2%. And if anybody starts punching off the front, it does make things difficult here after back. If you don't position well, you already see a rider here kind of falling off. So I have a feeling we'll see a few attacks. And then on the downhill into the left-hand turn over to the KOM, it's not much time before you hit about a 3 to 5 minute climb. That's pretty full gas. This morning we saw attacks completely blow things apart in the men's and the women's at APAC.
Yeah, I mean, this has got race-winning move written all over it using these S's, and you can see. Yeah, well, this is a great look right there at what it's like to be a part of a peloton as you're motoring at 55, 57 kilometers per hour through here. Have they always called this the intestines, or was that a recent nickname? Because it is absolutely perfect here. Always a tip of my cap to the graphic design team and the people that write all of this code and conceptualize where we race. This is part of the world that was used for the virtual Tour de France. It was an amazing production. Maybe not, I'm not going to say, Nathan, as amazing as what they've done with creating the vaccines in 9 months, but they built this course in just a couple of months, which was on the fastest timetable. It was beyond the fastest timetable or category work here. And it's become one of the most beautiful, stunning, and certainly loved worlds out there. Talking about France.
This is one of the most beautiful, I believe, additions to the world of Zwift. That's for sure. Lots of great countryside to ride through, and I do like the racing of this course is a lot of fun. And we do see Cryogen now making the way to the front again. I think that Cryogen had a plan here, perhaps, to press the pace, try and break things apart a little bit. We didn't see them very active in the sprints or the KOMs, so perhaps sitting in that third place, I believe they are about they're only 2 points back. Now remember, this is what we're looking at here for 10 weeks of racing. We're into week number 7. This is really going to matter here, that 2 points difference. Fusion, ECT, and BZR, they'll be on the watch out for them. Everybody's in striking distance in that top 5, Dave. So, but Cryo not being super involved in the first couple of points, be on the watch out for them because they are a strong team. They seem to be controlling things toward the front here as we do see them in the blue and white kit in the right-hand side, as you see, now making the way to the front. And I believe that is going to be Eddie again. And then Ragnarsson there as well, coming out of Iceland, now making his way forward. Cowan, Fusion, ECT controlling things. There's KC. It's going to be Kirchner Cycling. So all the big names here still toward the front and controlling things, it looks like. CCNS Muddy Mallage there as well with Charles. So all the teams still represented that we've been watching out for in that top 5 to 10.
Make a great point about typically you're in most of the divisions, if there's one team within striking distance of the squad that's leading here, you're doing pretty well. Not here, as the top 5 is just stacked. Now, it's going to be a bit of a reach for 4th and 5th to think that they can take the outright win. But I absolutely love what we're going to be watching, and this is going to make a big difference. So this should be Jonathan Fretter out of Ohio on the Steamer Express team that we're looking at. In real life rider, rode for the Jelly Belly team, competed at the Amgen Tour of California, so he has that feather in his cap. That's nice for any of the American riders who can say that, Nathan. That's a pretty significant achievement. That gets you some legit bragging rights around the bike shop in your hometown. But they're going to nail this one back as we'll reset. Get ready, though, for a big serving of pain coming up here. Is this where we're going to enter a new phase of the race, Nathan? They're not going to take 46 guys to the line today. I guarantee you that.
No, this is going to break apart. And that was an interesting little bit of a move there for a moment there from Jonathan Fetter for the Dirt Wolf Pack, Steamer Express now. But moving right back into the pack at this point, and now it's getting to the 3%. It does not go back downhill for quite a while. Ovett now making his way. He knows exactly when to head to the front end Aquino here from the World Elite Zwifters. Now Team SZ is there as well. Hansen, VCRT now on the front, as you can see in the gray and white. Crowdgen right on the wheel. Vici now moving forward for Foudre, and that is one of the top teams to watch out for here. Currently tied for first by Kurt, alongside of the Angry Bees, and that is going to be Kirchmer Cycling. Now Perota now making his way to BZR Speed. They're another team to watch out for. They're in that top 5 in the hunt as well, and could have some big changes in the leaderboard for one of the most hotly contested. You know what I have to say, we are going to be having teams moving up to the Premier League, and these teams we're speaking about here at the front end of this race are the teams that are in the hunt for it. So looking at that top 5 and being so close, within 5 points or so with all those teams, every one of them are still trying to chomp at that bit to take down that one of those spots to get into the Premier League. So this is a lot on the line here. This climb right now, it really does matter as they move into the second half of this race.
Yeah, Nathan, the name of the game, it's kind of bizarre, but you're going to need the top teams to have some bad luck, because there's so few points left that what you're hoping for is that a squad like Kirchmeier, if they finish down in 16th, fourth, fifth place team getting that 16, 15 points, and you get the win, that's going to be the 4-point jump that you need. So that's what you're looking. It's kind of like elections, right? Where it's really comes down to the numbers, and there's not much room left here. So you need to make, so 2 teams tied at 107. They're obviously going to be really locking this down. Even if you get the win here, you can't guarantee that you're going to win the series. So there's so many teams. That's really the magic number, as they say. There's a lot of teams that still have a chance to win the overall, especially if the top 2 teams have that dreaded bad day. But 1 or 2 riders is not going to be enough. 3, 4 riders. And it really comes down to that pivotal 4th rider on your team scoring points. That's the difference maker. And, congratulations to the 2020 squad. Yesterday that was huge. Heino for the first time. I believe I saw that right, that the results had ultimately 2020 on top there. And that's the first time that they cracked that code, and it was done with depth of team. Because there was like a 10-rider group that went to the line, so that meant that second group, Nathan, there were still plenty of points there, and that's where the differences were made. The big gains, the big losses.
Not a lot of climbing left in here. Now we did see Ovid now making his way to the front. As you did say, though, yesterday, this was a breaking point in both the men's and the women's race. We did see, I believe it was Kolchinski making her way to the front, and similar riders here, the climbers, as we saw with Kolchinski yesterday, making their way to the front. Ovet was there for just a moment. Now we are seeing, here we go. There's a move from Crowd. That was a very quick move to the front there, and that is going to be Hrdina at 7 watts per kilogram, trying to break things apart. You are starting to see riders struggle at the back, and these are the moments here that you really just need that little extra bit turn of speed here, a little bit extra bit of a grind there to try and really break them off. And if you don't get that gap, it's going to be a large group. So it's worth it, in my opinion, if you have anything left in the tank, to just absolutely drive this home and up and over the top. Only about 30 seconds to a minute left to climb. And Helvet now 6.3, 178 beats per minute here. We are seeing Hansen as well now, 4.9, 178. Another move, Volendam. Now, it looks like Zaremba going to try and make a move. 8 watts per kilogram coming from him. He's been waiting, and Ovet now responds immediately at 9 watts per kilogram. Big moves being made here, Dave.
Yeah, this is a moment for sure. So there's a lot going on now. We've still got about a third of the race remaining as far as distance goes, but there's not going to be many riders. This is an OSS situation. Only the strong survive. All hands on deck now. Freddie Ovitt, no surprise. The peloton looks like a python trying to swallow a basketball right now. As you can see, there's that big group right in the middle, but there's a few riders off the front and a few riders going off of the back. And that one group now, where is the moment? So we'll score that one. Again, top 3 riders will collect points there. These points really matter more than ever now. But Nathan, this is a jailbreak that we're looking at on the front, but you'll watch here the dynamics of the game, the physics here. That peloton will be picking up speed, and you wouldn't want to burn a match here, I wouldn't think, trying to hold off of that group, as we still have a long way to go. But there's going to be a few riders who get their ticket punched over that last climb.
Yeah, and a little bit of a break here. I don't think it's going to cause too much of a problem for the stronger riders. We will see most likely a good split as soon as this comes back together. As you can see, now this is interesting right here. If nobody really continues to press the pace, there we go. Debak here now, if he heads to the front with that 8 watts per kilogram, and they keep the speed 72 kilometers per hour, moving away back just a little bit, 71. This 4 seconds is going to matter up in the 68. Now look at the punch here, though, coming from Stoneman. They know with that 5 seconds, this is going to get away from them very quickly. These riders need to get together, put some work in. That gap really matters, and this may be 36 going off the front here, but somebody needs to head to the front end of this pack and press the pace, because if they don't and they kind of look at each other and worry a little bit too much, they are going to get caught pretty quickly, and this will swell again as it's only 2 seconds back. But they can take advantage here if any team is willing to work, and they're about to head into the aqueduct. So anybody who does get back from that chase group that put in the work to do so, they're going to be in trouble pretty quickly, because there's another sprint coming up in just a moment.
What's the fastest that you've ever gone on Zwift?
I think I broke 100 kilometers per hour. 100 kilometers per hour, 102, I believe it is, and it's on the down. You have in order to get that achievement, you use the radio tower descent in a full-on sprint with an arrow power up usually. So it's an achievement that you go for, but you have to climb to the radio tower. I think I used the TT bike to make it happen, or was it with an arrow power up? It's one of the two, but full-on sprint effort around the radio tower, into the downhill, a couple more punches, and as you get to the steepest downhill section, I think it's a 17% gradient, you're able to hit that 100 kilometer per hour, and it's actually an achievement badge. It's an achievement badge.
Oh, I can only imagine. I mean, it takes it. Yeah, that's a huge effort. All right, look at this, Nathan. They got back in. That was a really good job. I was going to say, this is that classic, don't let a grass fire turn into a structure fire, because if you start chasing for more than a couple of minutes out here, man, do you pay a huge price. They did a good job of getting quickly back up into the group, and we're going to go ahead and hit the reset button here in the front. Probably not for long, however, as that's a chase group that we're looking at, I believe, there, Nathan. Another group trying to get back in. They might be a little out of range.
Yeah, they're out of range. I just wanted to take a quick idea.
Well, I just thought maybe they're up the front.
You,
things happen so quickly out here, right? It is absolutely nuts at this point in the race with the way these teams are going so aggressively here. But this is it, the vanguard here in France, the Kings group, the front of the bike race. It's a big group, considering that we're over 30K in, 32 and a half on the odometer right now.
Yeah, I believe about 46 riders, surprisingly, were able to make that over the top there. So, like you said, Dave, very strong group out here today. We do have 2 more sections that could break things apart a little bit. It is going to be heading into the aqueduct in just a moment here. And then after that, they'll be heading on over toward immediately after that, actually, there's a little sprint section after a downhill descent that might break things apart. I think a lot of riders are going to have some matches burned. Legs are going to be softened up with so many very intense sections out here. So we'll see how things move through the aqueduct. It is a little bit more challenging. It has a little bit longer ascent to it, as well as a nice little punch. So, and then the downhill, going to bring things back together. Anybody who's working at that section is going to be very surprised with how quickly the next sprint comes on up. Now, I'm seeing a lot of blue and white here. I said Cryogen, they are only 2 points behind in the overall right now. And with that and so much representation here, I'd be watching out for them for the top spots across the line at the end of the day here.
You know what they need? So they need to have a good day, and they really almost want to communicate with BZR and hope that they can have a great day too, right? And if they can find one other team that can get up in the top 3 that's not one of their danger squads, like the top 2 teams, this could be moving day on the table, on the points table here. This is one of your last chances to get something done, and it's entirely possible. Cryo has been right at that threshold of having that huge day. Boy, it's going to be so bananas on the aqueduct. That's where the race is going to be won or lost, in my opinion, today, Nathan. That what we see there is really going to be definitive. I guess it won't actually really tell the entire story, but I think we're going to have a really good feel for the two or three teams, whether they're going to be able to make a significant mark on the race today, or whether the top teams continue to really hold on. But they even have to look at the fact that they're in a tie right now based on points, 107 at the top of the table for two teams. Wow, this is going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, 107, 107, 105, 102, as you can see there. Now we are heading into the aqueduct with the reverse climb. I did get a question coming on through from Brett Boniface, and you are correct there, Brett. Over the longer climb, there were no points available there actually over the top of that KOM, so I appreciate the question coming on through. There's only the aqueducts, the sprint points out there today. Plenty of them, though. So lots and lots of sections to take down.
Brett wants more.
There. Brett wants more, most likely, as I think he's going to be looking with restart in the EMEA West, which will be coming up in just about a little under an hour. So that's going to be a really interesting race actually out here today. And we do have a couple of guest riders out there with GCN jumping in with their own leaderboard as well as we do head into the aqueduct. Oh, here we go. It's going to be a good attack there coming from Cryogen. I guess they are not going to be waiting. Uli, now, one of your favorites here. Eddie's making a move, but Kurtzman's going to follow it up. 13 watts per kilogram is the gap there, but Kurtzman's got 15, 14 watts per kilogram. Eddie might be able to hold this off. Did he make the move in time? Kurtzman's coming on through just too much speed, it looks like. And now it's going to be the Angry Bees making everybody angry out there, it looks like, as Eddie comes on through in second. And then it's going to be Dorst there coming from SZ. SZ getting on the board. Solid ride there from them. Now,
there you go.
Looking behind here, Dave, this is going to matter at this moment. Wakefield's here, a little bit of splits. Now, if you have to work too hard on this downhill section, 180 beats per minute here coming from a rider here. Dina, Clement there as well. So immediately they're going to go into a sprint section, and they're not slowing down at the front. I mean, this is a very smart move because people are going to be looking to reset their heart rates, and they're not allowing that to happen because right away they head right on into a new sprint.
You're not going to find another division outside of possibly Europe West where you'd see this many guys that can hold on, because that's what you call grinta, really digging in. A tremendous number, though. That's actually nuts this is less than 50 kilometers of racing total here. So we're inside, let's just call it about 14K to go. This has been one of the most active riders, Maillard here, no doubt about it. That's going to be Kirkmeyer still up there. That strong group, though, just dangling right behind them is going to gobble them up, Nathan, here. I would think that we didn't lose that many guys over the aqueduct, to tell you the truth.
Uli here.
A lot of resiliency.
I thought that it was a little bit closer there. I thought we were within, but we're about, I believe, 700 meters or so away. And like you said, they are going to get gobbled up there. And here, coming right on through, Cryogen Ragnarsson now maybe trying to set up for his team Cryogen. Reichert now making his way to the front, maybe going to take down some points rather than Kirkmeyer here today. Reichert, now a little bit of a move. No, Van Breda now. It's a very short sprint out here. And this reverse section here, Reichert goes into 11 watts per kilogram. It's a very late kick, actually, from the rest of the riders. 16, and it looks like Angry Bees going to take that right down. A little bit of a gap, and with that, Shrug,
well played.
Doesn't matter. Nobody to draft on. Makes the jump. Maillard, next one across the line, followed up by Vici for Foudray. So Foudray doubles it up.
Yeah, I think just getting rid of it maybe as we take a look now at a little bit of reshuffling here. Look at the teams. Again, it's not about winning this race outright. That's nice. There's significance to that, a lot of points. But boy, when you look around, if you don't see some teammates finishing with you in the top 10, it's not going to have the impact that you would like to see it have. This is interesting here, Nathan, as you take a look. Cryogen is one of the teams that's looking to move up. No doubt about it. But, we're going to take a look at everybody just regathering here deep into the race.
Yeah, now things are going to calm right on down, I believe, as we get into a flatter section. All the work is done when it comes to the points out here. So it is about 44 riders, excuse me.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's a lot of riders. With the amount of racing, though, and how long this race is out here today, I have a feeling we may see a few moves being made through these flatter sections. A couple of because riders are going to be thinking about the sprint across the line, but with so many team members in here, though, Dave, I'm not sure anything's going to survive. I think there's also just the reality that people have enough bodies in here to chase things down. They could send a couple of out the front together, where teams start working together. I think, as you said, BZR may have some motivation in there alongside Cryogen to send some riders off the front, because the other two are going to be watching each other. You got Fudre and KC, Kirchner, Angry Bees. They're tied at the top at 107. All they care about is grabbing that 40 points, I think, at this point.
Okay, I wonder about Lasse Hansen today as well, the DBR rider. Someone I would watch, as we take a look here at how the points have been stacking up so far. And there's Lasse actually down in 8th right now, just 1 point. But that's a guy I'd watch for the finale. But again, it's going to come down to who's getting their team up there. Kirkmeyer's been an absolute monster when it comes to anytime that they put points out there, he's ready to gobble them up. That's for sure. Also in the finale, certainly a guy you'd want to keep your eye on, the Austrian here. Some big names, and they're all here. All the usual suspects up in this front group as we hone in on a little over 10K to go now. You're right, Nathan. There's going to be some big attacks coming. You could just feel it, can't you?
Yeah, we've seen it over and over again because there is such a long section here with not a whole lot of climbing, but you can, with the amount of time that's been put in all the sprints, you can tend to find a little bit of an escape. Nobody's really able to make it happen. Yesterday, we did see Team Heino try and make some classic moves, but unable to really get away. A couple of the teams were punished for these moves, though, as well. So maybe a little bit of a learning lesson there for these guys, because this is a very, very strong group, and getting away from this is going to be so difficult. With 44 riders, we'll see. A couple of riders may get
interesting.
Send some things away. We'll see how it works out.
It makes me think, Nathan, what's the smart play here, being offensive or defensive when it comes into the finale? Now, if you're Fudre, you're tied on points. Yeah, so, you can look at it two ways. There's not many ways that, where do you get that 1 point here? Because it really comes down to you want to put more than one place between yourself and your main competitor out here, Kirkmeyer, right? And it's the same thing goes for Kirkmeyer. So do you take some risks out here? Do you go aggressive and just see if you can get a group of 10 going to the line that's in your favor? Because it could backfire on you. That's the thing. And if it does,
it really could. I mean, you end up with all this extra work toward the end here. There's not a whole lot of time to reset that, to grab that energy back.
Yeah.
It's just, the
you know what I'm saying? So don't
finish line. It's only 7 to 8 kilometers now at this point. So very quick.
I would say lay back to my guys, Nathan. I would say don't do that. Let's just play it conservative here and just try to keep as many of you as we can in this group. Don't burn off a couple of guys trying to set up a perfectly sweet top, a group of 8 guys where we have 3 in it. It's just not likely that we're going to get that right.
Yeah, and it depends on the numbers too. There's just a reality that the Angry Bees, you got to look at the numbers. They've got 2. Now, both of them have the kind of power that could take it down. Cryogen, though, with
so there's 4,
5, 6, right? Oh, no, you're right. 1, 2,
so I
3
see 4
Angry Bees. Yeah. Is that right? 3 or 4?
I see 4. But it's okay. We can do some analysis here. We have a second. So
you're right. There are 4.
Okay. And how many cryos do you see? Because I see
a lot.
I think.
I
5?
At least 5 cryos there by making their way to the front here as well. So cryos got the numbers, and if they're able to follow it up. Now, a lot
That's
of riders
a big difference.
Put themselves in between that, though. So it's going to be interesting to see. Do you put the trust in that? Do you have a rider who maybe doesn't have the sprint? Give it a couple of goes here and make Kirchmeyer chase. Make some of the riders.
Well, the South African, I think they could win the race outright and get the 40 points with Oily, the South African, on cryo. So a lot of things need to go your way for that to happen. But if you can put 3 guys in the top 8 with the win, boy, there's just so many ways. So you can really, it depends on whose perspective you're looking at this from. But that's what makes for the greatest races. This is a points-based Omnium series with bonus points awarded at the end. It all comes down to the team, and that's what makes it so much more interesting here. All the different divisions are racing, but Kirkmeyer only has 4, but they're 4 super strong riders. So, I mean, they could win the day with 4, but certainly, again, really for them, it's just wanting to make sure you don't go outside of 3rd today. That's the scary point. Outside of 3rd, and you might have yourself a problem trying to get those points back later because you're going to run out of real estate super, super quickly. So that's boy, this is going to be what a finale. We're down to it, folks. Thanks for joining us out there in Zwift Community Live Land as we got ourselves an absolute Donnybrook. Now, this is the penultimate battle. To be fair, they have one more crack at it with the team time trial. But excuse me, for the community here, we have more than that. I'm talking about in the ZRL, but on Mondays here we have a few more races than that. 3 more weeks after this week.
Yeah, we're out to 10 races in the community, 8 in the Premier Division. So one more points race and a couple more TTTs is what's going to be happening out here for the community. Do see y'all in chat there. Lots of predictions coming on through. Jonathan Crane, we're seeing the Zwift race place as well. Reich Media is there. Good to see all of you hanging out in chat as well as over on Facebook. We are seeing a couple coming on through. Carissa Starr, good to see you over on Twitch with the Go TFC. So lots of predictions coming on through. Jacob Hill saying who will win, as well as Brett Boniface coming on in, getting ready for his race. Now another attack here. We said it might be happening. I do believe that's going to be your rider Ule, as he's been super aggressive and he's got the watts per kilo usually when it comes to these kind of efforts. We do see a follow-up there. Is that going to be Cryo and not Ovid here? It's actually KC off the front. Cryo covering it. Interesting enough to see. So he's not in an Angry Beast kit, actually, with the A1 team. So there is actually an extra rider that I did not notice because of the kit change there. Ragnarsson now following it up. And KC's not going to chase this down. So that's going to be up to Foodsray to chase this because them and it's going to be Fusion are the only ones, I believe, with really any kind of motivation to bring this back here, Dave. So Cryo, AC in cahoots here off the front.
Very interesting. So you think who is this to put pressure on right now out there? Huh. Well, just a few seconds. We get a good look from above here as they're into the finale now. We're just a little more than a handful of kilometers left of racing. That's the points table that we're looking at. We've talked a lot about how the teams really are going to try to get as many riders up into the top 10 as you possibly can. It turns into an absolute Donnybrook when it comes down to the finale, and it looks like we're no longer moving pawns around on the chessboard. We're moving some bishops and knights around up there in this Machiavellian chess match that's going on. And here goes another move now, Nathan. So here we go. They're throwing down the gauntlet here in France. It is on like Donkey Kong with 5K to go.
And that's the way to do it right there, is to push up into those orange numbers there. As Kronberger now trying to make a move out of Germany, but he does get shut down here pretty quickly by Cryo. That's the way to do it there from Cryo. Kind of. I mean, he does up the speed. There are covering moves to make sure, interesting enough, that nothing gets away, but that's only going to bring riders back up to their teammates' wheels. So I'm interested why they're covering that move and not just letting it go. Perhaps... I mean, that's just going to bring the speed up. Perhaps we're going to see a counterattack here coming from the other Cryo riders after they make this catch and just keeping speed as high as possible because, well, and that's exactly what's happening. A little bit of a gap now here coming. If they get 2 in this break, and there is a little bit of a distance here, Weichert now needs to slow things down the front, 4.9. And this is a good move here from Weichert because do you see what he's doing there? He is not pushing more than 5 watts per kilogram. And because of that...
It's not enough, though. There's just so much on the line here with a big group like that. I don't know that these guys are... I don't know about this here.
Yeah, well, I mean, Hansen here makes his way to the front, and that's going to push things on just a little bit. Ragnarsson now going backwards there. But look, Recknauer gets joined there by the other Cryogen rider, and now he's got new blood. more matches to burn. And with 2K to go, things get a little bit interesting now. As you said, unless they get 10, 15 seconds at this point and things really calm down behind, it's not going to be enough. Now, they could still make something happen if we do get these orange numbers over and over again and riders do not cover it. But over and over, we have Mylard, we've got Foodsray always on the cover, Cryo on the cover. It's really interesting for me to see how Cryo has played this, because I was expecting them to maybe back off and let other teams do the work instead, but they kind of were covering moves, interesting enough. Now, we do have 3 involved now at this point with WEZ, so this group is starting to grow, but not getting across without the chase closing it down pretty quickly. And there's only 1.5 to go or so here, Dave. I think you're right. This is all going to come back together.
Yeah, it's just a tough reality of when there's that much on the table here that the big dogs, the big teams just are going to gobble this up here now. So go ahead, get ready, hit the reset button. It is finale time as the finish line now has all of these points waiting to sort this one out. And today is the day that we will have, well, actually, I say that we'll have an independent leader here. We won't have a tie on top of the leaderboard, although that actually is possible with a lot of different various scenarios. This is your 3-rider group. The finish comes up on you incredibly quickly. So when they make that hard right-hand turn at a little, just about 100 meters to go, boom, there it is, and it's going to be full throttle. This is what the Peloton's perspective is on the chase. These are the riders right now almost just being baited now into, you don't want to go too early here, but I think the biggest danger is launching too late. So you've got to time this one perfectly, like a lot of finales in esports, but go ahead. It looks like we are going to bring this one back together. It's Grupo Compato now as these 3 valiant. Well, they're still holding on by just a little bit, but they're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Welcome to downtown Pain City, and here we go. The power-ups are being dropped. There's the arrow power-up, Nathan.
Yeah, and Aquino does go from the WZ team, World Elite Zwifters, with a counter there immediately as they catch the pack. And that is really good timing as they flow right on through riders going backwards here. We did see this work out in the B category this morning in APAC, but I'm not sure it's going to work out here for Aquino as here comes Ule, and this is into the sprint section. Is he going to make it happen? But Kirchmer's on the hunt now as Ellis comes through. 13 watts per kilogram coming from Wahoo Laco, but now it's going to be Dorsch here. SZ at the last moment. Kirchmer, though, in his usual form. Fusion ECT, going to get at the line. Big upset? No. Actually holds on for third, but Stefan over Fusion ECT. Those are big points, though, for Fusion. And they were sitting in 4th place at 102 points. We'll see how the update goes. But Kirchmer, they're going to solidify themselves at the top as we take a quick little look at a replay here. What a move there by Kirchmer.
Remember earlier I was saying you win and you look around because it's so different than just winning a bike race. How did your teammates do? Because so Kirchmeyer comes in as the top team, tied, I should say, with 107 points. They're looking, so that's going to be Kirchmeyer in the Angry Bees kit there, the yellow and black. I'm trying to look. It looks like you got a teammate up in. Oh, yeah, they got it. Kirchmeyer definitely today. Then we'll have a 4th or a 3rd, too, Nathan. That should be enough. They should be our outright leader now. That's just based on a thumbnail sketch that I'm making in my mind. There's still more behind that would matter, definitely. But with the 1st and a 4th today, Kirchmeyer should be good.
Yeah, solid ride there coming in from Kirchmeyer. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results in just a moment here. We also do have the women taking off here as well. They're actually just taking off, actually. Let's go ahead and jump on in with the ladies as the West do jump out. And this is always good to see the starts of the races to see how things play out as they head out on course. And a lot of times they're fast and furious. And when I did see that Sox Watts WTF are jumping into the racing here as well. So we'll be taking a look at where things are standing with them. But they do have former UK national champion Cassie Baldy is out here. Laura Massey is here. We're seeing Catherine Curry, Jamie Lee Wright. We're seeing Dirkstra from coming from Cryogen. Frisk from the SZ team. Draft ZRL with Collins. I mean, this is a stacked field amongst the women here. The who's who in the EMEA for the women in Division 1.
All right, we'll tidy up what happened in the men's race for you as we have, again, we're working our way around the planet, Zwift style. As this is the EMEA, so that's Europe, Middle East, and Africa women's division now. So we're going to shift gears as, again, there was all the different categories that you just witnessed racing in the East for the men. We'll have the West for the men coming up. But this is a good look at the start of the race. You're right, Nathan. We rarely have a chance to watch them as they roll across the start line out here, just 1K in. And you can see, I think that the reality of how aggressive these races are, that story's been told. And I think with the long race today, nearly 50K, this one, they'll let it a little bit more of a slow burn at the start, I would think. Not that it's ever easy.
Yeah, and it'll be quiet. It looks like here up front. I think a lot of the teams have learned their lessons after watching all of the races early. We did see some breaks happen early on in the women's race yesterday, but I think that a lot of riders are savvy to that now. There was even some posts on social media talking about how Heine was on the attack early, but I think there's going to be a little bit more attentiveness here early on because of what we've seen in APAC as well as yesterday in the Premier League. So I don't think anyone's going to be going much of anywhere. A little bit of push on the front here, but nothing into that 5 or 6 watts per kilogram you'd be expecting if anybody was attacking. So I have a feeling we are going to be waiting for that first sprint section. It's a little bit stretched out here, but nothing to really worry about. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at where the standings are at here for the women's side of things in the EMEA as it has been super interesting, and some of the best here have been battling it out, and you do see already some of those names out here. Let's go ahead and jump right on in, and it is going to be Aeonian at the top there, 119. Sox for Watt TF there, just a little ways behind. They've got some distance there. Aeonian been able to stack the top of this leaderboard. A battle there for second there with Cryo Jen Stelvio. C-Star Race Like a Girl at 98 points. BRT Atomic Kittens there. SWW Vive. And then it's going to be Bristol Flyers, Draft ZRL, Slee Sunrise, and Sox for Watts Pizza Party. Burning the calories out there today. Isn't there David Fioni and Banditas at the top?
Yeah, it's been really cool. The Aeonian movement has been phenomenal, and I did see that they announced some dates for the Tour de Boudica coming up in January. So congratulations to the organizing crew there. This is the Aeonian Banditas that are sitting with 119 points, similar to the A's. They've got a nice lead over, in this case, TBR Dance On. There's a real battle going on because Sox for Watts SBR Cake sitting in third, just 2 points back there. So good luck to all of our racers in the women's Division 1Bs. It's Cryogen Coiffer in fourth, SVV Bollinger fifth, WTRL Watts Up in sixth, R3R Bewitched in seventh, Herd of DSCC in eighth, AHDRL Bells on Bikes, they're ninth, and BVRT rounding out your top 10. That's a good look at Division 1Bs. Over to you, Nathan, for the C's.
Going to be the KISS Racing Team C, hotter than hell at 111 points, followed up by Aeonian Chicas with 107 there in second place. SZ Sif in 106, 1 point difference here. So it is very hotly contested at the top end of these standings here for the women's side of things. Cryogen Telegraph, 93 points. Clapham Chassels there, 86 for fifth. SWW Moet there, 84 points. Very close there, 86, 84, 82 for Sox Watts Whatnots there in these 5th, 6th, and 7th places. Herda Cougar Chaos also battling out with TFC Storm. And then the Fearsome there, just a little ways behind. That's going to be the C's currently for EMEA West Division C. And then it is for the D's. It's the Aeonian again at the top.
Was there a Herd of Cougars non-chaos edition? I'm wondering. Aeonian Diosas in first. Herd of Dolphins 1. Sitting in second. It's only 2 points separating our top two squads. That's going to be a battle royale out there for the next 3 weeks. Over our 10-week Community Zwift Racing League season, we're really stuck in now. TBR Wiggle On sitting in third. BRT, the Blazing Kittens in fourth, RCC Women's D in fifth, and then we've got Herd of Dolphins 2, Revo Rebels, SZ Sign, IRL Serrano Hams D in ninth, and GC Spokes and Mirrors in 10th. So that's a look at all of our women's divisions, the standings based on 20 points for the win, and then just tick it on down 19 for second, and so on. We're back in with the A's as they're just about 5 kilometers in. Everything looking pretty copacetic. That means A-OK.
Yeah, solid. A little bit of a pace so far, but no attacks as was to be expected. A couple power ups though. Oh, maybe gonna eat my words a little bit. Interesting to see. Maybe just some riders trying to hang on and making their way to the front with some arrow power ups. That's Natalie Lawrence though. Not expected from such a top rider there. Maybe a mistake. Maybe a covering. Maybe okay. So I saw the power up from Lawrence fade later than another rider. Perhaps she was expecting somebody to give a little bit of a go and was responding to her arrow power up. Because Lawrence, that's a rider that I'd be watching out for to podium. I mean, that's a top Aeonian rider. So she's been riding for the Wonder Women, obviously, on the WTRL TTT. Very strong rider that can make moves. Maybe not so much of the sprint, but the climb, as well as maybe a breakaway. So Lawrence already arrow power up gone. That's going to be an aqueduct or a sprint point missed.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this one plays out now when you take a look at a big group and so much to ride for today. As we saw with the men's race, it's being somewhat conservative. It certainly played out for Kirkmeyer, it looked like. They went and they tried to grab some bonus points, and actually that's going to tell us a lot. We have the same setup here, the Queens of the Mountains. The bonus points will I guess this is a good moment here as we're only 5.5, a little over 5.5 kilometers into the race to talk about the structure here. If you're just joining us on Zwift Community Live, again, this is the 7th of 10 races. We've been going back and forth using the team time trial format that was made famous, actually invented and made famous. It's become quite a thing when you talk about the WTRL, the World Championship. So Nathan, there's so many different touchstones today with World Championships on WTRL on Thursday, which is Thanksgiving Day here in the United States of America. We have also the Nations races coming up, which is incredibly exciting on the World Championship course. The 22 different countries, and then there's a catch-all group where it's based on a number of Zwifters. Based on the number of Zwift subscriptions held per country. Well, you get a chance to race as part of your country together against all the rest of the globe, and that'll be taking place over a couple of different days. You can find out all the information you need at WTRL Racing or WTRL.racing. But here we are now, again, with this points-based season-long series, and this is the community division, and this is the cream of the crop that we've got right now, are women out racing. Today, we're in France, Petit Boucle, about 48 kilometers from tip to tail out here. By the time the finish gets here, they'll have hit the aqueduct a couple of times. As I mentioned, the Queen, the mountain points. Those points are added in with the huge collection of points that we have at the finish line, the winner getting 40. For example, you'll get 3 points for winning one of our sprints out here, the intermediates. You get 40 points if you win the race, 35 points for second, and so on. So you can see it's heavily weighted towards the finish, but these points matter so much that if you've got the athletes and the ability to grab some, you do. So I think that kind of sets the table, Nathan, as we are well into it now. Our first sprint coming up in about 4K.
4K for first sprint. Just a little bit of heads up for the men's race that is coming up here in about 20 minutes for the West. Very, very hotly contested. We also have some guests that are going to be on terms with us here. As you can see them starting to set up here a little bit. So the GCN presenters are going to be battling it out there in the Americas West. Pretty cool to see. So be on the watch out for Cy, Counter Dunn. We've got quite a few heavy hitters just jumping in. Now, again, we did see some questions coming through, and there were great questions that came through from the community asking, will league points be available for GCN at this point? No, they will not be added into the league overall points. They will not be able to steal points on the day through the league. It's a guest ride. They're going to mix it up with the racers and see how it goes. It's an exhibition for them. It's going to be a lot of fun. They're also recording as well as putting together a video that they will be releasing specifically on their experience for the ZRL in the community, which is going to be released. So if you are in amongst that race, you might see some highlights, next week on the GCN show. So very cool to see them and welcome them into the racing here this week.
It might be in your best interest to get in a breakaway with Connor Dunn. You're not going to do too much better than that, right? Fantastic, Nathan, to be adding them into the mix here. I cannot wait. So, all right, what a special day for us here in the Zwift Racing League as we take a look at the front of the course. Is big group. You got a good look. This is Claire Good from Wales that we're looking at now, the lawyer who is a hill climbing phenomenon. Watch out for her at the Aqueduct a little bit later, as they'll be pressing to make a split out there, no question. One of the many Socks for Watts teams, some of the names that you really come to know and love in the sport. Leah Thorbalson out racing today as well. But they're one of the teams that's out here to do damage today, to say the very least.
Yeah, I'd be watching out for them. I mean, they're super aggressive when it comes to the TTT. I have noticed, though, that they are involved when it comes to the scratch racing and the points races, but they have been excelling, obviously, in the TTT. I wonder if perhaps that, though, being such a stacked team in the TTT, they kind of a specialty there for them, because Aeonian seems to be a little bit punchier and able to dominate in these points races a little bit more than Socks or Watts. And it's not something we see from Aeonian necessarily in the TTT, though.
Yeah, well, you make a really good point, right? We were talking about horses for courses earlier. Well, there's teams that really click in the team time trial and other teams that specialize more in the traditional style of scratch or points or really just regular road racing. I mean, if you look at it, Aeonian is a team of stars. Daniela Estrate is a mega talent. The Romanian rider, Jamie Lee Wright. I don't know if we've seen a rider that has improved more than Jamie Lee. I mean, again, it's not fair to say improved when you're coming back from being hit by a car, right? So recovered and then found another level. That's just incredible what we've seen from Jamie Lee Wright. And Marina Arce, the Argentinian rider on this team. And Aeonian also has Lawrence and Yax. I mean, this is a talented team. They got a lot to deploy out there. I mean, and that's why they're at the top of the table as well. Because they're not bad at team time trialing. They're just not a specialist team like Socks for Watts, who deserve a lot of credit. I mean, they wrote the book, didn't they, about how to team time trial out here in the WTRL?
Yeah, it'll be released on Amazon audiobooks next. No, I'm just kidding. But they definitely have been. They should write a book on it. I mean, they've won 24 out of 28 competitions, I believe it is. So that is a lot of that's a very high percentage win rate for Socks for Watts. But we'll see what they can pull off here today. Been calm as we were expecting up until this point, and now it kind of comes at you in succession. Boom, boom, boom. You hit the city here, little town, French town here in just a moment. Then you hit the aqueduct, and then I think it's within about 5K. There's another sprint point out in the field. So this is kind of where all the fireworks go off on this course.
So, Nathan, do you mind if I ask you a WTRL Team Time Trial World Championship question, or is that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so Socks for Watts, right?
I'm getting put on the spot here. That's
well, no, I mean, you said 24 out of 28. They have to come in as the odds-on favorite to win. Right.
It would be when such you look an upset, at it, and coming into Thursday, there's gonna be a lot of teams that are doing as much homework as they possibly can.
Wonder Women
going for. I mean, Wonder Women have made it happen. They have beaten Socks for Watts, and they've got to be, chomping at the bit. They've got to be licking their chops, going, all right, how do we make that happen again? How do we have that ride again? And there will be extra verification around this race actually too, which I'm really glad to see coming from Zwift. Or not from Zwift, from WTRL. that they're going to be putting together some extra verifications to make sure, because they are going to be handing out a WTRL World Championship. But speaking of things here, heating up.
Big deal.
Hall now. Here we go with Miller. 11 watts per kilogram coming from Miller. Now Lawrence, though, from Aeonian, now making her way forward. Now watch out for Lawrence. She already wasted that arrow power up, though. Here comes Lawrence moving her way through. Will she hold on? No, it's going to be Cameron. Cameron, I believe, holding on. No, look at the turn of speed here coming from right. Jamie Lee Wright to the front.
Wow!
That was a photo finish, but I believe Gamps was able to make that happen. What a great timing there coming from Jamie Lee Wright.
Yeah, and I mean, they're just gilding the lily right now with Aeonian as they have come in with the top points in the season long.
Term? What are we talking about?
That's when you say, like, the lily is beautiful enough, you don't need to coat it in gold, I think. Yeah. Just leave it as a flower. And this is Aeonian in the camo kit. Jamie Lee Wright here with that surge, going to dim the power grid in France now. And, that sure was.
Reason, the
Good
replay
for her.
Absolutely wanted the music in there as well. So
I love it.
Jamie Lee Wright turned on. I mean, she was going so fast, she turned on the intro music. I mean, what an amazing kick there coming from Jamie. And able to control the productions as well. I mean, her watts were just coming all the way across the pond to the studio here in Wisconsin. So now we got Cryogen. Stelvio now making some moves, though. I think this is a counter here from Stelvio. I think this is orchestrated because they are looking to try and take some speed some points here. And I'd be watching out for Cryogen. This is definitely
look at this, Nathan.
Team that I think
they're splitting it,
wanting to make something happen because they're third place currently right now. If we take a really quick look at this here as we head into the Aqueduct, Aeonian, Sox for Watts, but look where Cryogen is. In Sox for Watts, it's only a 4-point difference right now. Stelvio, watch out for them to try and make moves this week. With only 3 races left after this, this is their moment to shine.
Yeah, second and third. That's where the real battle is going to be. They are really pressing right now. The accelerator's down on the floorboard. And Nathan, we've got at least 20, make it 30 riders that are fighting for their lives right now. As a matter of fact, that split is happening and it's going to go. This is it. This is the most dynamic. We're looking at Dijkstra is the rider right now on the Cryo team. Cryo is one of the top teams. Again, they're one of the teams that is everything is in play for them. I don't think anyone's going to get to Aeonian. You're going to need to have them completely fall apart, and that is not going to happen. But this battle for second here, and we're talking about the possibility of advancing up into the ZRL big leagues, the Premier League. So this is a moment here right now. It is on like Donkey Kong. Every one of these women is going to be chewing. So Catherine Curie, I knew she was going to have an impact on this race. There's no doubt about it. She might not win the race, but she's going to lose it for a whole bunch of riders. They are punching tickets at the back of this, Nathan. This is it. This is a big, big, big moment here.
Almost Staker unable to make it happen. No, Hall does hold on, but Catherine Curry perfectly timed. And did you see when she took the speed up? The moment that it hit that 0%, 1%, 0% gradient, they got over the little bit of a hump. Then she pressed the pace. That was that increase in speed that you need in order to distance yourself, because everybody else does that kind of climbing's done, sit up a little bit, wait for a moment, but she timed it perfectly, gained speed over the top there, got the gap, and Catherine Curry may be able to make it happen.
My prediction, Nathan, is that this group here is going to be well under 20 riders that survive. That right there is the group. I don't know that too many come back. Now, I've been wrong before, but if they press here, they're gone. So let's see who we've got. Barbara Frisch is a big name to not be in that front group, to tell you the truth. Looks like she's having some kind of a technical or something going on right now, because that's the gap. We're going to see if they're going to close it or not. The race is on. You talk about putting the bit between your teeth. Well, if you don't like your situation now, you're going to have to absolutely bury yourself. And I don't know, Nathan, looking at the front of this chase group, that if they're going to have the ability to close that gap down.
Yeah, looking at this here, it is out to about 10 seconds at this point. And they do have another sprint point coming up pretty quickly. It's about 5K out, I believe, or so, around that 20K mark. 4 seconds back, some work being done on the front here. This is going to be Frisch, as you were saying, for Aeonian, 3.6 watts per kilogram. 50 kilometers per hour currently coming from them. 48 at the front here. 47 now. We do see it dropping a little bit lower. So they're within striking distance. I'd be so motivated at this point. They're right there. But if it's just not in the legs, if riders are like to have nothing left after that climb, 180 beats per minute. Look at Pierce here. I think she's just holding on at that kind of a heart rate now. Daniela Strate here has made this front group, but BRT now looks like making a way to the front, and they need to bring this back. BRT, I believe, will have the motivation to make this happen. Here comes Greenwood, and actually every one of the teams do want to get back that are here. You know why? Because stacking that top, those top spots are incredibly important. Every single point matters all the way through. I believe it's going to be all the way down to 30th place, right, Dave? So you need to get as many up there as you possibly can. And this is swelling. So because of that, and the amount of bodies that are here, I think this is going to snowball a little bit, and it's going to bring it back, but not without a little bit of work. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really interesting when you look at the dynamics here. Nathan, you are correct on that. You scored 30 deep here. And yeah, that front group was going to take, I'm going to say, the first 20 points off of the table as we're looking really, these should merge together here. We got so much racing ahead of us, Nathan, that plenty of time to sort things out here. When you talk about separating the wheat from the chaff, that will happen. But I guess that we are going to see them weld this back together now. No reason to be surprised.
Together, but immediately there's going to be, well, not immediately, but pretty quickly here, within a minute or two, there's going to be another sprint section. So it's going to heat up right away. They're going to get a moment to catch their breath and then right on into the next sprint section. So Aaliyah Thorvaldsen here, Sox Watts making her way to the front, maybe trying to speed things up a little bit. 4.1 watts per kilogram, that's no joke. And look, just as the catch is being made too, I love to do that actually the other ride. Now Aeonian, I think she wants some of her riders to come back as Daniela sits at the back. And that's all. She's also a tail gunner. She's known for being a tail gunner actually, and really reserving as much power as possible. She's waiting for that longer climb, I believe.
So Aeonian really right now, Nathan, has the luxury of being able to sit back and let these other teams burn matches here. It's really not their problem at this point. As a matter, I'm going to be surprised if we don't see them maybe load up and try to take the win outright as well, get one of their riders that glory here, as they would look to be right now trying to make the most out of this race. They have a pretty nice points advantage here as we look at this group. You wonder what kind of shuffling is going to happen in this group with the next bonus sprints. It was Jamie Lee Wright. Does Jamie Lee Wright pick it up again out here? Does she make that kind of flex?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and grab those.
Possible.
And it does look like it is Jamie Lee Wright with 3 points, and then it's going to be Catherine Curry with 3. It's going to be Louise Gamps currently with 2. Marina Arce, with 2, and then it's going to be Cameron there coming on through with 1. Then we're seeing Hall there with 1. So that's the current situation. Jamie might be able to, if she grabs it again, that's going to be 6
shows you how different
for Aeonian.
They're completely different sprints, aren't they? One is a Queen of the Mountain and the other is a conventional bonus flat sprint, right? So you can see that no one rider scored in both. Jamie taking 1, and then Catherine Curie, well documented as one of the most dynamic riders that we have out here for the Sisu team. And Sisu's sitting, I think, in 4th right now, right behind Cryogen Stelvio, if I remember correctly. So, they're going to be looking to, again, Cassie Baldi, I see covering some moves here. It's getting aggressive up on the front. We're in with Marina Arce, the Argentinian rider on Powerhouse Squad Aeonian. Sox for Watts, the other team certainly to be watching for. But they're not contesting, are they, Nathan? Or it doesn't look like they're putting their eggs into the go for the bonus points basket. I think they're all in for the finale today. Talking about Sox for Watts, Watt TF.
Yeah, and looking through sprint about to come on up through here. Did they just take it? Oh, I totally missed the sprint. There's apologies. We were looking at some of the points here in the background. We'll get the points updated here in just a moment. That's completely my bad. But it does look like Cryogen were on the attack there. Collins jerked out there. Now, is this a counterattack here coming from Collins from Draft DRL? This is splitting apart again. This is what I was talking about with such a very, very close section here after that aqueduct, after the sprint into the aqueduct. I mean, Thorvaldsen now on the attack. Look at the little bit of a gap here forming. Not sure it's going to go anywhere on this downhill section. Now, with the intestines coming up here, though, that is going to be a section to be watching out for. Maybe be able to make a split, but Coleman right down, and with the talent that's at the back here, Collins, Lawrence as well. I think this is going to stay together for a while. They'll do this little roundabout, and then they'll head on into the intestines. That'll be the next section to really be watching out for.
The ZRL really speaks to community, Nathan. I'll never look at a race the same because I'm already here. Instead of thinking about looking at who is going to win this bike race, what individual, Nathan, I'm much more looking at what team has 3, 4, 5 riders in this group, because that's how you win the 20 points for the top team. At the end of the day, that's the name of the game out here. 2 riders won't be enough in this group. It's going to take at a bare minimum 3. And if you have 3, you're going to have to put all 3 in the top 10, and you're going to really probably need a win on top of that. So that's the name of the game out here, is we're coming up on the halfway point for the European women, or this would be Europe, Middle East, and Africa, the women's field that we're looking at now. This is the selection that's been made. There hasn't really been any type of a breakaway. They just burn them off on the back like excess fuel, Nathan. They hit the dump button every now and then, and we lose 5, 10 riders here. But it hasn't been because, there was a big move from Catherine Curie, but that was more about points rather than attacking the bike race.
It does look like Lawrence was able to take down some solid points there, though, as you do see for the Aeonian race team. Jamie Lee Wright, Aeonian as well. We're seeing Marina Arce. If we're talking about where the points are at this point today, it really is Aeonian dominating, and it's going to be tough to beat them on the day here, as you can see. DCI Race Like a Girl is in there. I have a feeling that Socks for Watts are really thinking about the finish line rather than the intermediate points. They're just going to try and stack the finish because they haven't really been that involved at this point. There's only 2 more points up for grabs now with the Aqueduct as well as the sprint immediately afterwards. Not going to make too much of a difference, so I really do think it's going to... Maybe perhaps with the race of attrition, though, perhaps Socks Watts is also looking forward to the climb. Cassie Baldy is a reality on that climb to be watching out for. So that'll be super interesting to see how this plays out, because they have not been super active. I mean, where is Socks Watts on this? It's just going to be Cassie there with 1 point. So that's not to be expected, and they're sitting in second place overall right now.
No Claire Good.
That's
I'm
what
looking.
I can see there.
So one thing I would say, Nathan, is that you're not going anywhere today on Petit Boucle without Catherine Curie, the Sisu rider. She climbs as well as anybody in the esports platform, without a doubt. I'm looking around here. What team? Daniela Strate is here. Aeonian looks like they're in really good shape. And, Nathan, I almost want to move that conversation then to Socks for Watts and the battle for second overall here in this division. Aeonian, Claire Good is there. I just saw Good's name pop
Claire
up.
Good is
But you're
there,
right.
It's not into the... all I meant there was she wasn't into the...
Sorry
right
there.
Now. Overall for the points right now, no points were able to grab just yet. That was all. But I mean, as you were saying, this is the current team standings, and as you're right, the question is Crouch Stelvio, CCI Race Like a Girl, and Socks Watts. That's a current battle going on here. The men are about to take off. Things are going to calm down. They're about to head through the intestines here. It looks like for the women's side of things. We do have our guest riders out here though today. Let's go ahead and take a quick little look here over at the start for the men's here. 58 seconds this is the current situation. 50 seconds to go. We do have our GCN guest riders are hanging out. So they're all chatting away, as you can see out here today. It looks like they're having a little bit of fun. We've got Simon Richardson, Alex Patton, James Lousy Williams, Hank, Connor Dunn, and then Sebastian Heido and Loic Chatout is going to be out there hammering away. So, Dave, it's great to have our guest riders out here. And this is also a little bit of a great live look that they've been able to give us here of what their setups are going to be like and how they're hammering away. So great to see how they're recording for the GCN show as they're about to take off. That's with 12 seconds to go. There's Cy hammering away. Great little shots here coming on through. And here we go as the men are about to take off. Let's get a little bit of a live look at what it looks like to hammer away at the start of a Zwift race here, as you can see with the GCN boys here.
That's Sebastian there. These guys doing some psych out head games on the rest of the field as they look warmed up, primed, locked, and loaded. Great to have GCN with us here today. All right, Nathan, it's going to be a little bit of an extra throwdown here on the start for the men's race. Yeah, this one is going to string out now. Oh boy, buckle up.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that there's in the community there's going to be a little bit of extra motivation as well. You know what I mean?
Our man Kim Little getting up there. Kim looking good for the start here.
Looking really good, actually, and it's good to see Kim back in racing. It's been a while since I've seen him jumping into the reality of racing, but he's jumped back in with Team Experiment. Now off the front, little bit of kick. Is that going to be who's going here? And this is going to be the Frenchman here, actually. Tad here now on the attack. Interesting enough to see 6 watts per kilogram, 7 watts per kilogram. So now we do see it looks like Sai here trying to make his way forward also from GCN. And Sai, I raced against Sai in the first GCN race, actually, that we had out on Richmond when Richmond first launched. And he takes his Zwift racing really seriously. He's got a lot of experiences. And you can see a lot of focus there. 290, 300 watts, sitting well in the pack, not putting too much out here, Dave.
Yeah, he looks like a guy playing poker in Las Vegas at 3:30 in the morning in the Sands Casino, right? He's not giving away anything with that face. This is again, what an honor. Connor Dunn has become one of the people's champion, to say the least. He lives in Carrick-on-Suir. Where he is in Ireland is as beautiful in the world as it gets. And Connor, at the extensive world tour experience, you can see the bands there as the former Irish champion. He's got a very nice Zwift setup. Must have a graphic or a designer helping with that. So it's good to see Connor there working hard. That man is a human wattage cottage, isn't he? A wattage skyscraper.
I think also the tallest, was he the tallest man in the peloton as well? Was that one of the, I think that's one of
Absolutely.
the things that he was one of his go-tos there. So good to see him.
Guys like Taylor Finney
too, really hammering away, as you can tell here right now.
Yeah, Mickey Shar, I think, is 6'6", so well over 2 meters tall. And Connor, I think in the America, using the feet, would be 6'8" in height, which is if you can play in the NBA at 6'8", that's for sure. I'm going to guess, what do you think, a 64 centimeter frame, probably? And but he definitely has kept some fitness, that's for sure. Let's see how they impact the race out here, Nathan. But you mentioned, I guess, all kidding aside, they're not being scored. They're not going to take the points off of the table for any other teams. So not going to say that they have zero impact in the race, because absolutely you'd be lying to say that. How they race out here could certainly, if you can use them to your benefit, more power to you, right, Nathan? You can crack that code.
100%, yeah, if you can, and make some moves with them. I have a feeling they're going to animate the race. Not having quite as much on the line with them, as far as it's an exhibition for them, right? So it's going to be about maybe getting the win, making some moves, making it fun, and then
expect them to be aggressive, right?
Exactly. Whereas these other teams are like, we're trying to get in the Premier League. Like, we need our points out here today. A little bit more cautious, I think.
If I could get in a breakaway with Connor Dunn at 2K to go, and I was strong enough to go with him, I'd sit on that wheel. That would be like sitting on a motorcycle to going to the finish. You very well could win.
Getting your motor pacing going on, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to be our split screen for the men's race, and the women will be using this throughout the rest of the broadcast here until the women do finish up. Just as a heads up, if you're wondering what this is, you will have the women's race on the right and the men's race on the left there. So women are just starting to climb. I have a feeling things are going to calm right on down in the men's race for now for the West. So let's go ahead and jump on in with the women as they are starting their climb up and over the top of the reverse Queen of the Mountain right now. No points up for grabs, but this has been a separation point over and over again in here in this race. And this is going to be, I'm guessing, looking at that jersey, that's Catherine Curry, isn't it? Yep, it is. Look at her go.
Yeah, they might as well put a QOM up here, Nathan, because this is one of the most damaging parts of the course up here. As let's see. So again, last time Curie did this, though, it didn't do as much damage as I anticipated. A few riders are going to be shown the back door, but there's a pretty healthy group right there just behind Catherine Curie right now as the 2008 U.S. National Road Champion, and she won it on one of the hardest courses that we've ever seen. So, an outstanding rider who I wouldn't call her a climbing specialist. She's a great all-around rider who has a forte when it comes to climbing, but there's a lot of heavy hitters sitting in that group right behind her, Nathan.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough to get away here, but it is a good move early on. And if you do get separation on a move like this, and then you kind of just get into your own rhythm, and you can kind of keep it high enough that it makes a chase have to happen from behind, put a little bit of hurt on, you can, you could get a couple of riders to come across to you, perhaps try and tease something out rather than just kind of have a steady to the top here. So looks like that's what Catherine's up to here at 5.3 watts per kilogram. She's actually extending her gap. It was 2 seconds a moment ago. Miller sees that this may be a threat here and wants to go. Now, this is not necessarily going to win the race outright. I'd be extremely surprised. The chances of staying away from the entire group till the end, not very high. This is to blow it apart and get some to come across. That's what this is all about, forming a smaller cream of the crop, the best of the best.
You absolutely right. It's just like dropping bombs, to tell you the truth, watt bombs out there right now. She's not trying to break away. In no way does she think this is a solo bid to go win. She's going to put, we'll see, but probably 10, 15 riders won't be able to survive this onslaught that we're looking at right now from Catherine Curie. These are the survivors that we're looking at in this group. And even remembering now, if you're Aeonian, that's the team in the camouflage here, this is based on your team. It's points based. So you can let one rider go up the road if she she can win this race and they can still win the day, is a good way to put it. These are the survivors right now. Again, all hands on deck. Not many are going to survive this. It'll be less than 20 is my guess, Nathan. By the time we regroup, I anticipate Catherine Curie being brought back into the group. The real question is going to be who is still there, as we'll take some inventory. As we're right now, that's going to be Curie right in the middle of your screen. And you can see the damage being done on Le Petit Boucle, the little circle in France, as we're over halfway now into our women's race. This is Europe, Middle East, and Africa that we have. One of the more competitive divisions, and we've talked a lot about how Cryogen Stelvio is looking to try to move up into the top two here. They need a little bit of help as they try to go up against Watt TF out here, the Socks for Watts Watt TF team, I should say. And we'll take a look at that chase group and see what team have the numbers that they could be comfortable. If it's possible to be comfortable at this point in the race. 28K in, so right around 20K to go.
Catherine Curie here, 5 watts per kilogram in the front, 159 beats per minute. Doesn't look like she's, this is a steady effort from her.
She's riding her tempo. Yeah, this is her riding her
threshold, right around there. This isn't VO2, but she's extending the gap here, and she is putting a couple of riders into the hurt locker, and that's the whole point. Collins, that's a rider
they are.
Get rid of. Draft.
Welcome to the hurt locker.
Look,
I hate to say it.
Arce here, it looks like Gamst as well. That's the rider you want to get rid of. She's got a good kick on her. This is a sprinter. This is exactly what I Race Like a Girl, Aeonian as well. They need to get rid of Gamst. She's got such a kick, and that is Jamie Lee Wright as well from Aeonian. Catherine Curie is making this happen as Miller and the rest are trying to chase that down. Now, I think there's confidence, though, amongst the front end of this pack that the downhill is going to snowball them, and they can just set this high pace and not let her get 20 seconds. 30 seconds. Just keep it within striking distance is the idea here.
Oh, Nathan, no doubt about it. The real name of the game here is who's the best sprinter left? Who has survived this? Because Catherine Curie will come back. It's just the physics here of this group and the distance of racing and the terrain that they have in front of them. But Curie has changed the outcome of this race. Now, she might not win it, but she made sure that about 20 women won't win it either. So The question is, who's the fastest woman? Did Daniela Estrate make that group? I think she did. As you look around, that's going to be the camouflage green jersey here of Aeonian. It's Cryo. It's Socks for Watts. Cryo's going to be in that light blue and white kit. They look like they're in pretty good shape here, Nathan. So this is going to be the chase group that's forming now behind our solo leader, Catherine Curie. But it's not a stunning advantage that Curie has. But what she did, as Nathan said, put a whole lot of ladies into the Hurt Locker, and they're not coming out. So again, anything's possible in this sport. If Catherine Curie holds on for a solo win here, this will go down as one of the all-time great rides on Zwift. That's for sure.
Yeah, this is only 7 seconds. There's the pack. These switchbacks reminds me of old school mountain biking here with these switchbacks. Like you see the gap, you look back, you see the back. Do I have enough gap? Yeah. Do I have enough gap? She's getting into the super tuck. 61 kilometers per hour, as you can see. Lori here now 67. I mean, just the reality of the physics, as you were saying. She's going to be able to rest a lot, though, as you can see. She's going to get
take a good deep breath. And as you said, Nathan, she was never above her threshold or more than just there for a few moments. So it's not like it was a crazy effort.
I would say here, nice 178. She's up in like 140, 130. So, I mean, gets a good break, and she could kick again over Aqueduct.
This is it. This is going to be the winning group, no doubt about it. But it's not about the individual rider. It's what team.
Off the back. Oh, what happened? Get back on. How did that? I think there was either a dropout or a moment in intent. I don't think she got dropped over the top, did she? And she's up into one. Where's the super tuck?
She's got another dropout. It's a technical.
No. Jamie Lee Wright.
What a bummer for them.
The riders. This is one of the riders here now. 0 watts per kilogram. Now up into 500 watts. She's trying to kick again. Will she get across the 3-second gap? It looks like Lawrence here is going to the back. And, this is really smart from Ionian. They're not going to go off the back, but they're going to try and extend the snake as far as they possibly can. You see what I'm saying? They're going to try and extend the gap as far. The group as far.
It's like reaching into a volcano. You can only reach so far, right? And if she gets back on,
it's gone. It's gone. It's too bad.
It's a bummer.
Within 2 seconds too. It was so incredibly close. Too bad to see.
Well, as they say, there's always tomorrow's race, and there's no doubt that Jamie Lee Wright will be back. She's a huge talent with a lot of heart, but that's a bummer for Aeonian. The race goes on as we take a look at the front group here, and 2 races going on, Nathan, I should say, that's going to be Europe, Middle East, and Africa West, the men well underway, as we mentioned, welcoming all of our friends from GCN. I love seeing Sebastian out there as well. He's a guy that in the United States we had a chance to get to know. What a quality human being. There as Nathan, they have to initiate some kind of a breakaway, don't you think? Talking about GCN today, their pride is immense. These guys are not kidding around. They don't like losing a handshake, let alone losing a bike race. So I'm going to anticipate that they light the fuse out here.
They've been really active on the front, actually, so far. So we'll see how this ends up playing out. There's a little ways to go yet before the sprint section. It'll be interesting here how we're going to cover, because we do have 2 different races, we did say, going on here. The Aqueduct in just a moment, coming in for the women in a few moments here, but the men's sprint is about to heat up here. So I have a feeling we're going to need to jump on in with them, as this is going to be the first contested point, as they're just a little ways out. We're looking at Ollie Peckover. This is a rider watch out. There's James Barge. He's streaming over on Twitch TV right now for the Innovation Riders. And the Innovation, they are a top team so far. Let's take a quick little gander here just for a moment. The current men's standings is also going to be very important on the day here. Let's take a look. We'll take a look at the current standings for just this current race that we're looking at right now, and then we'll take a look a little bit later as they do update. But it is an Innovation. They've been extremely competitive in this, and as you can see, it's going to be Restart, Plastic Cockneys, as well as Innovation Penetrator, WTRL Skylab, Team Torque 2000 Callus, Canyon Development Squad, Evo Vamos, Team Experimento, Zunder Statement, and DZR Dynamic Dane. So those are the names to be watching out for as we head into this sprint. And here we go. It's opening right on up here now, as it's going to be on the front. Boniface and all Zieson. Wow. Look at this Zieson attack here, Dave.
Yeah, well, here we go. So points going 3 deep, but Z-Sun's going to gobble up at least 2 spots, although it doesn't look like they're going to take the top spot. So I think that's going to be Brett Boniface. It is. So that's going to be the Canadian for restart here, coming up and over the top. But Z-Sun's going to go second, third, and fourth. But we do score 3 deep there. That's a big play. Big play. It's interesting. One rider getting 3, those other 2 getting the equivalent of the work that Brett did, as we'll split the points up evenly between those 2 teams now. Z-Sun. Let me just quickly, for those joining us for the men's West, so this is Europe, Middle East, Africa, West, these points then that we're scoring now, 3, 2, and 1 for first, second, and third. And you can see that's Boniface there, the Canadian, coming over the top, up and
Great
over.
use
Great
of the
job,
truck
Brett.
there. That was really well done.
Yeah, you could see he timed that right there, right? That small window where it would have mattered. He was right tucked in behind Z-Sun. So there you go. Those points then will be added up. And later on at the end of the race, once we've got our finishing points, we'll be able to tell you where the teams end up. And the top team will take 20, 19 for second. And we'll look at that table as we're into the 7th of 10 races for this season. That's going to be jumping back in now.
I believe that's going to be Hank.
This isn't Connor or Sebastian or Cy. There you go.
Going to be Hank here hammering away with us now, trying to hold on. Looks like he is going to be
what a beast.
Close to the front end of the race here so far. So we are on board with Simon at this point, though. It does look like he's going good at 183. Now off the front, though, do have a little bit of a move there again being made, I believe, by Boniface now. Luke G now toward the front there again. So lots of moves being made as we're heading back into the aqueduct. Look at the focus here from Richardson. 182, though, currently coming from Cy there from the GCN man. Now, 6.3 watts per kilogram.
Yeah.
And, I wonder what the tactic is going to be here from Cy. Is it going to be about following wheels? Is he going to go for any of the sprint points? Maybe waiting for the climb? Because I do know he's got a solid threshold and a good VO2. So, very punchy, I believe, Abel out on Zwift now into 6.4. Here comes the moves, though. And we'll keep this on as how it's going to look for the real world point of view. But the kick here is at the front. And that is going to be Luke Gino Ashton there from WTRL. Looks to be trying to take this down. Peck over across for second, I believe. Followed up by Kim Little. Able to grab third there. But
Ollie and Kim up there. The real danger now, Nathan, is a split happening somewhere in the middle of this group, although it looks like it's just strung out enough. All of these little gaps should come all back together, so that won't be enough to blow this one up yet. Not with the resolute group that we've got right now as we're in with Ollie Peckover of the Evo team. It's a long, thin line of pain right now, but it looks like all of our GCN boys are going to make it over okay. Going back and taking a look at the they're back in with the group at the front right now.
You're fine. That was me. I'm just going to, the women's race is so exciting. They keep on turning the music on for us there. Jumping back in here, Katherine Curry made the move over the top of the aqueduct again. I was expecting that because of the rest she was able to get over the top, coming down the other side of that King of the Mountain or Queen of the Mountain. So Katherine walks away with that one. Solid move. And then we did see it looks like Cassie just holding off Paul, maybe. We'll have to wait and look, though, here. Let's go back and take another look at that. That was interesting there between these riders. Must have been a last-second dig there, actually. No, it was actually going to be Daniela Estrate and Hall battling it out. So as they came across the line, I believe Hall just held it off. I think she did.
The draft rider in red, right?
Held it off. Yeah,
yep.
I believe. So that's the situation there in the women's race. And they're actually about to head into their next sprint section. The men are going to head into their sprint here in just a moment as well for their second up. But the women, they're going to jump right on into it. It comes up like within moments and it really puts the hurt on. And with such a small group, if there were more riders here, I think it wouldn't be such a danger spot. Well, with such few riders, you don't have as many bodies to work with, as much draft work here. Now we do see Hall going again. Lawrence,
this group's getting pretty small. Francesca Hall, the draft rider in red, is doing an outstanding job here. She just doesn't have the teammates around her.
Oh, this is so
Whoa!
close. Lawrence able to make it happen here. Yak's just going to be able to hold on for a second, perhaps, to the line. One more
Hall's
little
getting
bit
up
of
there.
kick. Oh, Hall takes it, I think. This is such a great race. These ladies are putting on a show. Really. I mean, this has been awesome to watch. As we saw Lawrence go very early. Yax and Lawrence head to head. I really thought the battle was
Man.
going to be between them. Lawrence here now distances herself a little bit, and here comes Hall with that feather power up there. Yax fading there at the line. I'm not sure she got paid off for the effort there. Cryo came through maybe at the end. That was very impressive there, though, from Natalie Lawrence, able to hold off, hard charging, but I believe Yax was able to hold on. We'll have to take a look at the points overall in just a moment here. But what a move there by Natalie Lawrence,
Aeonian,
and really show what she's worth.
Aeonian deserves a lot of credit. They seem to have so much depth on the team. Every rider has participated today. As a matter of fact, if you look at the distribution of points, I think just about everybody on the team has added a point or two along the way. So here we go, making the run in now, about 10K to go until this one is done and dusted out here. These are the survivors. As we take a look now, this is going to be the tabulation of all of our bonuses that you've seen, including the most recent. 3 points going to for every winner. So that shows you that we had both Lawrence and Wright taking 1 win along the way. Well, you could get to 3 points with the first or second and the third as well, but Catherine Curie has led the way in the bonification, and certainly the most dangerous rider whenever the road tilts uphill. But we're going to jump back in with the men here, and I think you got we're queuing up Carl here from the WTRL team.
WTRL, we were in with Hank for just a moment there. We're about to head into the sprint, though. We do not want to miss the front end of the pack now, as it is going to be Plastic Cockneys taking over at the front, and they are one of the top teams battling out for the invitation to the Premier League. They're currently tied, actually, with Restart at 113, so Boniface is going to be definitely on the attack here. Jaden Yager's there as well. He's a recent addition to the U.S. National Worlds team, actually. So, but it's going to be Luke G here from Restart, as well as Boniface now coming up over the top, and that's going to be on Plastic Cockney's mind there, 1-2, and then it's going to be third for Cryogen. So Boniface and Luke Chabert showing us what they're worth across the line there. And then, interesting enough, Ryan Beavis getting beat there, actually. Not something you see often in a sprint. Revel for Tor 2K, a little bit of a gap now. And I haven't seen them roll. I haven't seen anybody really roll with it today. It's just been too strong of a group, but it doesn't look like that's going to be happening. As Law closes it all down for innovation. And that is the third place team currently with 108.
Well, certainly Z-Sun and Restart came to play today. Looking at our men, a huge group together. They're just about to hit 20K in.
Yeah, it's interesting. We'll have to just take a look and see what the point situation is so far with how things have been playing out. But Restart, I think,
I guess Plastic Cockneys. Well, the Plastic Cockneys are the team that haven't been participating in these bonus sprints, but I think that they're just loaded for bear for the finale, Nathan, because they're really the team. They're tied with Restart with 113 points, if I remember correctly now. So those are the two teams that are fighting for the overall win here. Again, week 7 of 10 taking place right now, but Restart using a different strategy for sure, as they've been going for every point they can scrape up. Right now, Boniface has won 2 of our bonus sprints so far.
Yeah, and then we have Ashton there from Skylabs coming on through for 3 when he came over the top of the Aqueduct. Going to be Dylan Coyne there from the Zunder statement. Luke Chabert there is going to get some more points. So that's 8 points in total right now for Restart. That's going to distance themselves a little bit from Innovation as well as Plastic Cockney. So it's going to be a tough day then, I think, for them to be able to make anything up. We'll have to wait and see how that ends up playing out. Again, we are on board also with GCN, and they have been able to make this front group. I think Hank is in here, as well as Sai. I'm not sure the rest of the riders have made this league group, though. I'm looking through, and where are the rest of our guest riders? Take a look through and see where they are standing here, because I think we do have two GCN that have made it.
All right. So that's Zach Harrod that we're in with now. Certainly a rider that has used this platform much to his benefit. I started looking around, Nathan, because again, top 10, getting three riders in there. That's the name of the game. To have any chance of winning out here today, you need at least two. That's where so many of the points are. As it's certainly top loaded the series as it should be, making a big difference and rewarding riders that end up on the podium here. So a pretty good sized group together as we make our way through the middle part of the race. The sprints aren't enough. The bonus points aren't enough to blow the race apart out here today. These guys are just too resolute, too much on the line. As that's Connor McGeo that we're looking at. Haven't seen him out here enough this in this series as he is making another. It looks like rededicating himself to esports. Good to see Connor racing today.
Yeah, that's really great to see Connor. Been very, very strong rider in the world of Zwift racing. Most likely getting outside during the summer, I have a feeling. But we saw him plenty during the spring, so watch out for him. Perhaps on the climb, he's been extremely aggressive when it does go uphill in the past. So watch out, Connor McGill. And it looks like he's jumped on to the restart team. That's a great pickup.
Yeah, it sure is. That's that's what you call reinforcements, right? As we get deep into the season, if you can bring on a rider with that kind of talent, that ought to shore things up quite a bit. As they are again tied with talking about restart now, the team that Connor has just joined, they are tied with the Plastic Cockneys on top of our leaderboard and at 113 points, maximum number of points that you can win out here today, based on how all of your riders score on your team is going to be 20. So that tells you one thing's for sure, Nathan. There's no way they can tie on points today. So one of those two teams is going to move into the lead today.
Yeah, and with only 3 races to go, this is really where things hot up here now. Restart, Plastic Cockneys 113, Innovation Predator, WTRL Skylabs. They're out of striking distance. Their top 2 teams do head through. Innovation Penetrator here, I think, have they got, how many riders do they have at the front end, though, is going to be the question. Because they're going to really be wanting to do everything they possibly can to stay involved in this conversation. I mean, they're no joke of a team, but it does not look like they've really put too many. Richard Law is still here, it looks like. I'm seeing Rob Wood. I'm seeing Sean Vinton is in here as well. Very strong rider. Be on the watch out for him. I believe we've also got Richard Unwin is already off the back, actually. But where is Barnes? Angelo De Viroli has made this, and James Barnes. So there's still 5 Innovation Penetrator riders here as they head through the intestines. And so, they're going to be looking to put as many points over the top on the top spots today as they possibly can. But have they done enough already so far? Because if we do look at the point structure right now, we don't see any innovation in there. So maybe these points won't matter too much, but restart already with 8 points. That's going to be a separation here. At 40, you're going to need the 32. You see what I'm saying? You're going to need at least.
Yeah.
You're already back in your 40-point win to a 32 at this point, and that's without restart being involved at the end of the day.
Wow.
So. That's not happening.
And look at restart now. They've got 3 riders at the front of the peloton here. So they are all over this bike race in a really good position here. And I think that they've got do they have every guy on the team, Nathan, up in this front group? I believe they do. So that jersey, we're calling it the Tomac jersey. I guess more like a Retros 80 jersey, the neon pink and yellow. That's the restart team that we went to. Swart is there, right? I believe Swart has got to be there.
Yeah, Mike Swart has definitely made this. At least
super strong rider.
Very strong rider. Luke is here. We've got. There's just so many.
Mike Swart is there.
So Mike Swart's there. Brett Boniface here. I just was mentioning Dan J is here as well. I believe they did pick up Jaden Dogger, who's also a part of the Worlds team from the US of A. So it's going to be a tough day here for innovation. Restart's going to be looking to rip legs off. And Plastic Cockneys are no joke as well. I think Plastic Cockneys, they're more of a team to watch out for one sprinter and a big effort when it comes to the TTTs. I think that's what kept them in the race up against Restart is the TTTs. It's kind of this back and forth, and it's kind of what makes things really cool in this racing series is the reality of having different disciplines that you're able to accentuate and really show up for as a team. Law at the front, not really a move, I wouldn't say, because this isn't where you want to go. Probably more of a setup before the climb, because this goes right on into a 3 to 4% gradient here as they take a turn.
Yeah, I think this is about positioning, to tell you the truth, Nathan. But it is, you see Z's understatement moving up there as well now. But a little bit of scramble going on in a really big peloton. So I think these guys realize that some splits are going to be made. It looks like we're jumping in now with all the GCN boys. How are they doing out here, Nathan? We should check back in, get a temperature on GCN. The reality of jumping into this series, Nathan, 7 races in, I mean, it is brutal out there. So they certainly went into the deep end of the pool.
They are hammering.
It does not look good, does it?
No, there's a little communication. Look, Sai's talking. Sai's talking. So there's some communication going on here. Hank has made the front group alongside with Sai. Maybe Sai's having a little conversation perhaps with productions, letting them know what it feels like, because I think this section is most likely calmed down a little bit, where he's able to catch a breath and speak a little bit. But Hank and Sai have made the front group for sure.
Yeah, you can see from Hank's perspective, he was up in the top left-hand corner. He was tucked nicely in the peloton here. We'll get a look at the group that we were just talking about. This is the front group, the vanguard here. So good job, lads. That's no joke, making the front group here in what is such a competitive division. Both the East and the West really get the nod for that week in, week out. Racing's been absolutely bananas out here. That's going to be Cy Richardson that we're looking at right now, flogging himself like a rented mule here.
6-7 watts per kilogram. This is going to be the story time right now, whether or not the GCM boys are able to make this, because this is the toughest.
This is the big test
of the course. Yeah, this really is. You're all in at 6 to 7 watts per kilogram for a solid 3 minutes or so. It just looked like Law now making a little bit of a move. Cy's falling off pace here. Needs to hold the wheel. Focusing in, 183B smirk, a little bit of a smirk there. That's the suffering smirk, I think.
Come on, Cy!
As we head into it here.
He's done it, though. He's getting back up into the slipstream here. What a fighter this guy is. He probably, only weighs like 65 kilo, and 5 kilo, that's got to be heart, because this guy is absolutely back up into the group. That is like a cocktail napkin with an outboard motor attached to it right now.
Looks like Hank in the upper left there of that little box there was struggling to hang on. We'll see if Hank's able to make it. He did get back on terms, it looks like, just a moment ago. So,
oh boy,
he's in there. 179 beats per minute as well. Here's the shot from Hank. He's there with it still. So 2 GCM boys still in it. We'll jump back in with them in just a moment. Women are coming into their final. They did do that section we were talking about earlier. It's a little bit calmer. It's a lot calmer heading in, but they're about to hit their sprint. They're within about a K to the finish line here. So let's go ahead and jump in with the women's EMEA finish here, as they have, Catherine Curry, she has been the story out here today as we kind of reset and get, set the table here a little bit. Natalie Lawrence and Aeonian taking a lot of sprints. But Catherine Curry, she's been dominating, but she doesn't have the numbers when it comes from I Race Like a Girl. I think it's going to be another story of Ionian just being the strongest team on the day. But we'll see how they end up across the line for the scratch.
Yeah, Dykstra is a rider to watch, certainly, for a cryo RDT here, as if you have any type of a sprint, you got to be licking your lips right now. You don't get many shots like this, because most of these riders are going to, Barb Frisch there, the Aeonian rider. Francesca Hall, I'd be watching out for her. Cassie Baldy as well. Francesca Hall, the rider in the all-red draft kit, she was up there in that last bonus sprint that we had. So, okay, we are locked and loaded. This is not a drill, big-time bike racing. Bringing it home here for the women's European division. This is it inside of that last K. This is going to be an interesting sprint here, Nathan, as this is a good-sized group coming to the line now.
Yeah, about 700 meters here. It's very early to go right now. A lot of people want to at this point. It gets really antsy. because you hit the city and you're like, oh, it's here we go, here we go, here we go. And you keep thinking, here we go.
Yeah.
And then you even hit the sprint banner section and you think, oh, I should open up. It's usually the person who waits from 50 to 100 meters after that to go full in. You just follow wheels, weave in and out, find the right way to draft. There's the the little sprint banner right on the right-hand side. Natalie Lawrence starting to ramp it up for Aeonian. She looks to be following a wheel as soon as it starts to go. There goes Massey, the first one to jump. Arcee's there as well, 9.7. Massey looks to go. Lawrence now. She's got a feather power up, but it's going to be the arrows coming on strong there. Cryo RDT, are they going to take it down? The blue and white. It may be happening with Frisch. Frisch, after she came back, no, it's going to be Stelvio with MacGyver, I believe, holding on. Aeonian takes second and third and fourth across the line. I'm going to take a look at the replay, make sure I got that right. What a move there at the end of the day by the Cryo RDT team. This is a rider though that she's done this before, where she's come through and give us a little bit of an upset almost in the past. So what a kick there coming on through from the Cryo RDT rider.
Yeah, Beth getting the win. I think though that Aeonian's going to like what happens for them, Nathan, as they should be the top team on the day. So timing that one just right. There really wasn't a huge question here as the finish line comes up so quickly, but that's not even going to be a photo finish. But you're right, Nathan. Second, third, fourth is going to be Aeonian. So Foudre, the team that's been in a just pitched battle here all season long, might give a little bit here to Aeonian today. Certainly looks that way.
Yeah, it looks like Aeonian giving a little bit of wiggle room here now. So back in with the men's racing, though, we'll take a look at the results as they do come in, because they're just coming over the top of that climb now. And it does look like Hank was unable to hold on. Sai as well, it looks like, getting dropped off. Going to have to make the chase, showing what the quality is out here. But we will have a board at the end of the day just for the GCN boys, where they end up amongst each other. That is going to be a board that we will have. So be on the watch out for that, because how they finish on the day, we will have for amongst their competition amongst themselves. But Ashton here, WTRL, now 14 watts. What is Ashton doing?
Wow.
He's trying to make things separate, because I think he sees that's what's going on. They've put distance between themselves and Plastic Cockneys. That is what is going on here. They see the chink in the armor. 3 R's off the back a little bit as well. Cormac McGill is hanging in here, but it looks like Innovation 1, 2, 3, 4 have made the front group. Plastic Cockneys are here as well. They have put Restart on the back foot. That is exactly what's going on here.
They sprung a trap out there. Tactically brilliant racing from INC here. Nathan, this is one of the biggest moments that we've seen in league history right now. So now they got to continue to pour it on. Restart. Again, who would have thought that things could have turned so quickly out here?
Yeah, this and that climb with, I'll see if I can bring in any kind of a replay or anything, but I have a feeling that
Wow.
what happened was the Innovation, I think, like you said, they sprung a trap. They made sure that they put in a biggest dig as they possibly could. I think there was a little bit too much trust coming from the rest of the Restart team that they could get back on terms. They also went for a lot of points early on. Hendry has made this. Let's go ahead and kind of figure out where things stand here.
Well,
Not get too overexcited.
Yeah,
But
it might not be
Innovation
that
do
bad.
Innovation do have the numbers, though, I believe. I think they do have the numbers. 1, 2, 3,
And even
4.
Even though, Nathan, that's pretty close to 30 riders there. Not quite 30 riders, I'm going to say, in this front group. Almost all of the points are in that group. And if they aren't, it's such small numbers of points that remain after this group that pretty much this is it that we're looking at right now. 32K in. Wow. Rare that you see riders rejoining.
Together. Here we go.
Yep.
And actually, I am seeing a lot of fluoro in there. My mistake. Restart have made a lot of riders in this front end group. It looked to me as perhaps Innovation were on the attack, but perhaps Restart put Plastic Cockneys on the back foot. I'm going to take a look, though, and see how things ended up playing out. Reese House has made this, it looks like, though. We'll get a head count here before we get too overexcited. about how things ended up playing out here. But Restart, they do have, it looks like one,
They're
two,
okay.
three, 4, 5 riders, 6, 7 riders. My mistake. They might have been the ones who made the move here. 7, 8. So Restart
It was
are more than
exciting.
okay. It was, well, we made it exciting for for a moment there.
That
Got everybody
the
really
last- that
excited.
will be the last time
Innovation,
that
1,
I
2,
make a
3.
mistake.
I believe Innovation have 4 in here as well. Looking for plastic cockneys though, and it
So,
looks
Nathan?
like. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, as far as GCN goes, I'm assuming that these guys have to finish. It's not the last one who is in the group the way they're scoring it amongst themselves, right? So I hope that
Well,
they're
they're
going to race
definitely
all the way to
finishing. They're all pretty focused.
Yeah,
here,
they
as you
said
can
forget
see.
it.
They're totally focused.
Hank is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at them. They're all in. They're
Sebastian.
not messing around. I mean, Connor's still climbing like a maniac. It looks like they're.
Oh, yeah, they're all in.
grinding.
You're
They're
right.
all in. Yeah, they're not going anywhere. And they've got a battle between each other now at this point.
Connor looks like he's mad at his smart trainer, doesn't he? Like he's like, I'm going
Mad
to
at-
grind this thing to So back in with the front group for the men, 33K ish in right now, of about 48K, so 15 to go here.
Yeah, not a whole lot to go here. About 15K. They're going to be the Aqueduct at this point. I do see the questions coming on through, and thanks a lot. I really appreciate the questions. Jonathan Crane's letting us know that Restart does have 2 squads hanging out in and amongst this group here, and it looks like both of them have made the front group. So interesting enough to see. Good. You see Morgan Aldridge. Thanks a lot for jumping on in and saying way to go to Team Cryo. Perfect power up play, and that is always great to see the cheering on of the fellow teammates, good, as well as Ian Bundy saying Beth woo go, and as well as way to go Cryo. They're coming in from Ryan Carter, and they had a solid ride, and I've been really impressed. I've been saying that they've been under the radar until this ZRL Cryogen when it comes to the top level in esports, and they have shown up. Late summer WTRL TTT, all of a sudden they started to pop up a whole bunch in some of the community races, and then all of a sudden it was like we hit ZRL and Cryogen were everywhere, and it's great to see this long-standing team really put their name out there. We'll have to wait and see how they end up playing out for those top spots. Maybe to get something going into the Premier League from here.
Well, they're close. They're one of the coolest teams out there, most welcoming. They have a tremendous vibe, and it's nice to see when they get very competitive too. So this is Plastic Cockney. Speaking of competitive, they're the team that's in a pitched battle right now with Restart. Both teams well represented here in our front group. But yeah, nice job, Beth MacGyver. That's a huge win there. And it's worth noting 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, we believe, for Aeonian. So that's a statement race for them as well. When we talk about team out here, it's no joke in the community, in either of the Zwift racing leagues. We race on Mondays, and they're down to now 1 week of racing remaining. Here we have the luxury of 3 more weeks of racing with the community league.
Here goes Boniface now, 17 watts per kilogram coming from him. Ashton from WTRL trying to make something happen right now, 16 watts per kilogram, and he's got the arrow. And Boniface, he's going to fade because Ashton up into that 16 for a moment there. What a kick. And that's going to be with ease. B. Thomas there, Tortu Callis, able to come through for 3rd. That's 1 point across the line, worth something. Boniface able to take down 2nd now. So wins HDRCC coming through for 4th, but no points for 4th. Zach Carey there from Team Experimental. Now they're going to ramp it right back into another sprint. And with that string out there, this is going to be dangerous here, Dave.
That 1 point, Nathan, is your classic tiebreaker. So often in these leagues, what you see is teams will tie on points because remember, we're adding up all of these bonus points for 6 riders, and then we're adding the finish line points. So it's not rare at all that you'll see teams tied with 32 points apiece. Well, that 1 point then gives you the 33. That moves you then and gets you 1 whole point in the team competition, because at the end of the day, when this one is sorted out, 20 points are the most that you can earn, 19 for 2nd. And that's really how we keep score. This is some preliminary scorekeeping that we're doing out here with the bonus sprints and then heavily weighted at the finish. And that's not that far off, a little over 10K until this one is done and dusted. And we're looking at the top teams right now. Again, Restart, Plastic Cockneys. They've got the most to win or lose out here today. That's for sure.
Ashton again toward the front. DeHart, Plastic Cockneys, tied for first currently, as we said from Restart. One rider off the back. This is what I was talking about. When the speed starts to ramp up again, as they set up, they head right on into this next sprint point. As soon as they hit this little French town, there's the green banner on the right-hand side. That's the start of the sprint section. Harrod on the front. Not exactly where we want to be unless he's going to jump from second wheel. Boniface kicks again. Perfect timing as they hit the bricks, and that's a good time to go with a gap because there is a little bit of a drag on the bricks. He does get the gap. He's going to be able to hold on to the line, it looks like. Our Anderson, this is strung out a little bit. I think Anderson across the line for second, followed up by Law. That's a solid little point there for Law, and that is important with Innovation sitting in third place overall right now, behind the Plastic Cockneys and Restart. Will Richard Law continue on? 4.2. It's a good rider to go with. Z-Sun, they'll be motivated, I think, Dave Z-Sun. They want to get some points on the board.
Yeah, they're a team that's definitely got a good trajectory going right now. When we talk about how this all works, part of it is the promotion and demotion. So the top two teams moving up into the big time racing on Monday, and a couple of teams will be moving down. So there's a tremendous amount at play as we look at who's stocked the cupboards here up in this front group. Clearly Restart in good shape. They're right now just kind of chilling out near the back of the group.
Look at this move. Look at this move. This is going to be innovation. This is what I was talking about. 10 watts per kilogram. D. Veroli. This is a rider who can make it happen too. They are TT monsters. That's the other thing about this team is they have been showing up in the team time trial. They know how to work Zwift when it comes to riders off the front in a breakaway threshold effort.
Wow, they're going for it
power
here.
Up. This is all in. 4 seconds up the road here now toward 2K now, trying to come across. It looks like not going to be able to happen. Gene Yager knows that this is a move you have to follow. Canyon Dev with Velez as well. And they've got a gap over the rest of the group here too. This is a move. I'm loving to see this. We haven't seen this yet on this map in this 7th week, and I love what Innovation is doing. Making it exciting. Might as well roll the dice, throw the chips on the table.
Yeah, we got ourselves a good old-fashioned jailbreak going on right now. You know, this is what you call the spirit of bike racing, no doubt about it. I'm not going to say the odds are in their favor, but certainly, you know, you certainly increase your luck the braver you are. This is an all-in. They just pushed all the chips into the middle of the table, talking about INC Predator. Now, they come in as one of the top teams, but they're not in the top 2. This is how you make a big move. They're either going to win or die trying out here today, Nathan. Love this kind of racing. Smash mouth bike racing on Le Petit Boucle in France.
This is great to see from Innovation. 5 seconds though. WTRL see Carl now on the front, making it so difficult for them. You know, and the reality is that Restart have the numbers. They've got like 8 riders in this still, maybe something along those lines here. Cunningham now to the front. They're just going to take poles here. And Innovation, they're going to have to outwork them. And Restart, they've got the numbers. They got so many numbers in there that they can just put somebody on the front and burn matches because they still have the likes of Boniface and others. Cork McGill, I haven't seen him stick his nose in the wind once. He's going to be in for the sprint, it looks like, here for 40 points here. So Innovation, it's great to see them make this move. They're just up against some of the strongest teams with the wrong numbers there, I think, when it comes to, you know, what they're up against. So many riders able to work against them here. Boniface, though, at 3-3, they get a gap, so I don't want to discount. Maybe there's not enough left in the tank. Interesting to see. And the other thing is, like, Restart, if they waste too many matches, they set themselves up to be vulnerable to somebody like at the back here, James, you know, in Barnes from Innovation.
I don't think they're too worried. Yeah, they're chill right now. You can see the team. They're not going to overreact to this. And I'm with them, to tell you the truth, Nathan. This is where you have to learn patience and stay calm in bike racing. This is not a big enough threat that they should be throwing all of their guys up on the front. They can let some other teams do some work. I saw earlier that Team X was putting some riders in on the chase. Although play around a little too long, and all of a sudden you do get burnt. That's for sure. Got to be very, very careful.
We do have a great question coming on in. So, loving the question. So, the GCN boys, they're doing some live production of their own, not live production, excuse me, recording of their own right now. So, we do have them on board for some rider camps, which is absolutely great. We loved them giving the addition of their pain caves. But this is all a part of their production that they're doing for recording specifically on the ZRL. So we appreciate them bringing in the shots here and letting us know what the suffering is looking like. I believe Cy is in with a chase group at this point, alongside with Hank trying to chase him down, which is good to see. So Cy here, 176 beats per minute here, currently sitting, I believe, around the top 50 here at this point. Did get dropped over the top of the reverse KOM climb. So you'll be able to check out the highlights of their race and how it all went down for them on the recording that they will be releasing on the GCN channel. So no live for that. We do have the live cams here, but we'll catch them for their sprints and as well as get some of their results against each other across the line. Innovation still 6 seconds. Good to see, though, off the front as they battle it out.
I know that they're working hard on all of the, so there's so much going on as we have racing all day long when you talk about the Zwift Racing League, and especially the community day with all of the different divisions. So we'll be, they're calculating results for the women there. We'll be able to, at some point, make sure that you are up to speed on what happened with the top 10 and how things sort out as we're down to it now, deep into the race, almost 42 kilometers in. So a little over 6K of racing remaining here. Big group, as you mentioned, with the world championships, the nations races coming up. This man has a lot to look forward to. The restart rider Jaeger, who, if he's in the group, certainly going to be very, very dangerous for the finish.
It'll be interesting to see how it ends up playing out, actually. Imagine, somebody coming out of the community and winning the rainbow stripes. I mean, it'd be absolutely awesome to see. Velez, I think, thinks I have a feeling that's Velez. I would be so surprised if it wasn't. Yep, one of the most aggressive riders from Canyon Dev. Good to see him making a go
all
here.
Season long. Yep.
And I think it's good to see him make the move to try and go across. I think this is only going to instigate the speed to get higher to shut it all down, though. I think that's what's going to be happening because getting third rider in there, fourth rider at this kind of level would just make that much more dangerous. Now, what could happen if they don't shut it down now? This could slow it down because of the kicks. It could be like, okay, now we need a breather because we had to cover that. And if it does, 50K an hour, 49, it might give a little bit of a gap, but they have to these guys are so committed. I'm really impressed. I mean, even if this doesn't play out, this is quite the effort that they've put in here.
Yeah, I mean, for it to be away for 1 kilometer is impressive, and they've done quite a bit more than that. I love a team that comes in with a plan, but there's the reality of so many hungry wolves out there, and it looks like they're going to get a chance here to reset this thing one more time, definitely into the business end of this race now. And now it feels like if you're up in that breakaway, like you're racing through wet cement at this point now, as these cobbles, it feels like adding a couple percentages to the gradient that you're on here. So I think we're going to see the catch made just past the end of the bridge here. We got a whole new bike race at that point.
And it does look like they're going to be caught throwing the towel, maybe get a little bit of a reset and try and salvage some energy for the line. That's what it's going to be all about, I believe. As Zada likes, what's going on there? And that's going to be Eddie here now. A little bit of shots fired, actually, we're seeing here. People, it's getting hot, that's for sure, when coming to the line, actually.
Throwing some shade.
A little bit of shade getting thrown around. We always like the drama here, and I think that between these top 3 teams, definitely. We've also saw that in the APAC with Relentless and ZWC we saw earlier. Anna pointed out Relentless out there recruiting some riders actually from the ZWC team, and ZWC weren't too happy about that in the Facebook chat. So this is a competition. People get serious. This isn't any joke. I mean, we've got amongst this group right here people who have a chance at grabbing a world championship jersey. UCI World Championship jersey on December 9th. So this is no joke racing right now,
You
as
make
you can see.
That's a great question, though, that I'd like to see some conversation around. Who is the rider that, you could say the world tour type riders, the standard UCI racer versus the community rider? Who's the best chance out of the community and then you have the riders that I think truly cross over to both, right? I mean, I would argue with anyone that says that Lauren Stevens isn't part of our Zwift community. She was doing, remember that, Nathan, in the spring? She was doing races all over the place and doing group rides and was definitely a part of our Zwift community. But she also is one of the best UCI riders in the world. Right? She'll be an Olympian in 2021. So that's what you call some true range with someone like Stevens. So I wouldn't count her as a community rider, that's for sure. But it'll be interesting to see. Does anybody upset the
She is a
apple tart
crossover,
and pull
though.
that
She's
one
a
off?
huge crossover. I do see
Huge
her in the same
crossover.
realm. I see her in the same realm as
completely legit.
2020 when it comes to crossover team. They really, really committed Tibco, SVB to being a part of the Zwift community. So, I appreciate them very, very much, and it's awesome what we see them in their accomplishments over the last 6 months in the world of Zwift, and definitely deserved. We'll see how that ends up playing out, though. Because then you've got riders like Kolchinsky. I mean, that's like, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting how it ends up playing out. That's for sure. Here we go, though. We're into it, and this is going to be the final 2K or so. Everybody's calmed right on down. It's really just the setup at this point. I wonder if we're gonna have a lead out to try and set anything up here to try and put a couple of chasers on. That's a lot of times. This morning we saw that happen in APAC where one rider forced a chase from another team, and then the team that had the rider go sat on and then won the sprint. So we'll see if we do get any instigations now.
I would think Restart would be the most likely team to pull off that very high level maneuver. When you talk, it's really different when you look at a sprint here on the Zwift platform. It's not a free for all. Every man for himself. Tactics really do matter, but boy, do you have to be dialed in. And Restart is a team that is at that level. Let's see if they can pull it off here today. They got Brett Boniface, who's one of the I would say most skilled riders out here on the platform, the very dangerous Canadian rider. All right, this is it. Once again, we are locked and loaded. It's finale time here in France.
And there's the lead out here. Here's the Floral kit on the front. 3R's got 3 riders all sitting in. Boniface's third wheel, as you can see. Here comes Hendry, 10 watts per kilogram. Big jump here coming from Innovation. And that's the move we're talking about, forcing the rest of the riders to try and respond. And this is from way out. They're going to give him a distance.
About a K to go.
A lot of distance here now. Innovation. Are they going to send another? Interesting enough. That's going to speed the pack up, though. He's got to get distance right now because Clements is going to hold on to the wheel. No, he does get distance. Okay. Interesting to see. Now, 2 riders from Innovation off the front. How is this going to play out for them? I think Edgin's just going to get caught. He has to slow it down, not speed it up. And that's actually giving speed to the rest of the pack here. Not sure that that's going to play out here. Now it's going to be Divioli here. He's already through in all the watts he's got. They didn't really have to put too much on the front. Now it's just suffering here to the line.
Yeah, so here we go. We're going to move into the second phase of this finale. So that attack, and again, you can see how hard it is to hold off this pack of wolves as they're going to absolutely swarm now. Even though it doesn't look like much distance, the speed that the peloton is going to be carrying, or I should say the big group here, is going to be significant. This turn comes up on you very, very quickly. You're at about 100 meters to go when you make it. There go all the power-ups. We're into a whole new bike race. Throttle is all the way open now, Nathan. And that's going to be James Barnes up on the front here. There's the finish line.
He's getting swamped. Cormac McGill? Was it? Oh, Ashton, I think. McGill,
almost.
Nielsen. I'm going to have to take that. That was so close.
Maybe Ashton for WTRL, the Scottish rider. Wow, what a finale that was.
It was amazing finale between Ashton with a kick, though, to the line. Quite the kick. We'll see if we can go ahead and jump in here and see how that ended up playing out. We're gonna have a sprint to the line in just a moment here with I believe Size bringing it in as well from the GCN presenters here, but Barnes, he went really early, a little bit too early. It looked like that last corner. It the look on the face at that moment. And Ashton, it was Nielsen and Barnes. Did he hold? No, McGeough, I think, held on. It looked like to the line there. If you look,
The timing on this one was you had to just have it absolutely nailed here.
Yeah,
As
it
that
really
turn
was.
does come up. So here's a good look at them as they come up. That stop. There you go. Perfect. As that's your podium there. But you do want to look deeper. Take a look at that whole group now. As did Restart do enough? I see at least two, and I think I see three in the top 12 here. So Plastic Cockneys. Oh boy. It's gonna be close. It's going to be close. They'll get out the supercomputers and start working away on that one because they were tied at 113 points each. So one of those teams is definitely going to move into the outright lead. We're in with Cy now. Good job out there, Cy. Cy's going to be happy to have this one put behind him here.
Yeah, really battling it out here. It looks like I think this is going to be a part of the third chase group. Now, I think he's going to be happy that Hank is 40 seconds back here at this point. So there's the battle within the battle, between them all. So here's Hank trying to hold on. He's got to make a move here, though, as Height is going there. G Height from Z-Sun.
He's attacking the gruppetto. Yep.
Yeah, and look, Hank up and out of the saddle now, as you can see, looking to go across. Mosegard there from the DZR. That's going to be the Danish Zwift riders as well. Hank now, as you can see, looking to close it down. 5.7 watts per kilogram. He's already used his drafting power, looking to go across. Let's go ahead and jump in, though, with Cy here real quickly, though. He's going to be coming to the line. This is for the sprint for the finish. So trying to
These guys
moves.
are smart enough to know. They know they're going to be on GCN if they get beat by Cy, right? So they're really fighting for their lives here. Their pride, their families are now cheering them on. Like, don't let Cy beat you. This can't happen. Look at Cy fighting now.
Chewy, though, from Evo is such a strong sprinter. He's a big boy. I've sprinted against him time and time again. I've actually been racing him in the KISS 100 on late Saturday, early, and I'm actually surprised that he's getting beat by SDW Harris here now. They went so early and they broke it, and this is a small enough group that you didn't really have a pack to hang out with here. So, but Cy does get the better of, it looks like, his teammates. He's going to be the first GCN rider across the line. So congratulations to him. 184 beast minute. Looks like it's been a tough day. This is the reality of ZRL, right? Jumping into the midst of this. This is quite the group. Hank now to the line. This is more of a setup. And they're starting to pull a couple of riders that are straggling in here. Oh, we are going to lose it here for just a second. Apologies there, everybody. See if we can jump back in with it here. But Hank is going to sprint it out, as we can see there to the line. We can actually maybe see it on his point of view there. But we did get a little bit of a jump around there for a moment. But nice little sprint there. It looks like Hank. I think he's going to get the better of all of them. So good job to Hank.
Good job. That's a good look at it as well for what the racer's perspective for so many of our folks that watch on Zwift Community Live. A complete exhaustion. It really is quite a feeling when you come across the line. Actually, you never really get to see that, do you, Nathan, when you're looking at it from our broadcast? So that's what Hank will be saying. A big thank you to everybody at GCN for joining us. Super cool to have you along. You jumped into the deep end of the pool, boys. Some high-level racing going on out here. And to be honest, this is one of our most competitive categories with the Europe, Middle East, and Africa West that we just witnessed. The women also are done and dusted out here. So we're moving around the globe quite quickly here, Nathan. Week 7 of 10 for our community races. And as always, you can go to WTRL.racing for more information. A lot to look forward to as they're gathering all that data right now. The Nations race is happening in early December. Nice chance to race for your country. 22 of the most popular Zwifting nations will be represented. We have a catch-all group for the other countries as well, so anybody can take part. And that leads into the World Championships coming up on December 9th. So I'll throw it back to you, Nathan. I know a lot going on there at Zwift Community Live headquarters as we wrap up 3 distinct divisions of racing here. You had the women, then we had our Europe, Middle East, and Africa men's East, and then West. Make sure I get that right.
Yeah, it's been a lot of racing out here today. APAC is already done. We just got done with the East as for men's, the women's EMEA, and now the West men's. We are getting all of the results. It was a longer race out today, so it was back to back to back racing. So we haven't really looked at any of the results yet. A lot of times we go over the results and then jump into the next race because they're usually about 35 to 45 minutes races. So I am hearing that there was a good amount of lag for some of the racers out there. So the backend API does have Jaden Yager across the line in first place. Interesting enough to see ahead of Ashton from WTRL. We'll have to double check on that actually in the West. Just as a heads up as we do get into the results, we are seeing a couple of discrepancies here. Backend API don't lie. Is what we are told, though, as it's data. So let's go ahead and take a quick little look out here at how things.
We weren't just recently told that. Yeah.
All right. So in the men's result, the EMEA East Division, Stefan Kirschberg just pulls it off here at 0.07 of a second over Simon Nielsen. Jan Stoneman there across the line, followed up by Marcus Zorsch, and then it's going to be Ingo Reichardt, followed up by Eddie Ule. Then Steven Van Elst, Stian Lurstein, good to see Lurstein out there, rounding out 8th place there. Matthew Ellis, followed up by Alexei Kalman, showing up on the day, a familiar name for the Danes there. And then it looks like SZ domination there, Dave.
Yeah, a lot of Swedish flags on top of the table here. Eric Hellstrom taking the win for SZ. Petter Olsen for second. Tom de Smet, Belgian rider, in third. Then you've got Finland, Timo Haninen in fourth. Thomas Peffer in fifth for Germany, is representing Germany. Andre Sousa in sixth. Mike Taylor seventh. Lucas Oogster in eighth. It's Tim in ninth and Dennis van der Salm. Rounding out our top 10 for the Bees.
Oh, Tim. It's Tim. Good job, Tim. I'm loving that his name's just Tim. What more do you need than Tim? All right, Richard Dallin coming across the line for the Vikings at 52.18. It looks like Enrico Quadrelle is going to be just a tenth of a second behind there for second. Roman Weiderker, followed by Dan Mululi. And then it's going to be Matthias van Spreybroek. And then Stig Tor Hagstrulen for the Vikings. Leo Piquet, followed up by Craig Bloom. Julian Beiser. And then Frode Thomason. That's your top 10 in the C category for the EMEA East Division 1C. And there's the D category with George Lyncho at the top there, Dave.
Yeah, nice. So again, going all the way back to the first races we covered, but not the APAC races that started the day, but that is Jorge Lincho taking the win. Martin Bjorgvik in second. Diogo Diaz in third. It's going to be Simon Gregory in fourth. Roy Iverson fifth. Frank Delius in sixth. Miguel Torres in seventh. Oliver Javert in eighth. Kettle Solberg ninth. And Magnus von Schenek in 10th. So that's our East Division 1. Then we look at the women now. Nathan, this was a big one.
Yeah, Beth McIver, and we saw a lot of chat, a lot of cheering for her in the chat there, and it's great to see Cryo taking down a win, 105 even. Marina Arce there for the Ionians. Daniela Straight for Ionian there, so that is going to be a second and third for them. And then it's going to be Maria Frisk, Cassie Baldy, Barbara Fish, followed up by Harriet Gilson, Leonie Dykstra, and then Francesca Hall, followed up by Natalie Lawrence, who also grabbed a lot of points for her team throughout the day. Solid result there for Ionian. And then the Bees.
All right, and on top, it's Melanie Dobbins. Congratulations, Melanie. Bex Barker for silver. Chantel Kotzer. And I like the pineapple butterfly, Chantel. Good job taking the bronze medal. Ariel Verhaeren in fourth. Kelly Merton in fifth. Hilda Harong in sixth. Sonny in, so that must be dating Tim, in seventh. Then you got Lala Lawson in eighth. Michelle Bennett in ninth. And Brittany Litton in 10th. That's the Bees.
Malin Bankson, excuse me, for SZ there, coming on through for first place in the C category, EMEA West Division 1C. And then Amy Weisman, Sophia Leichberg, C. Scott, followed up by Camilla Edvardsen Stenvold. And then Kelsey Trinell This was a close one, all within 1 second for those top seven. There's Maria Osainison rounds out that top seven within that 1 second. Then Charlie Heisler and Maria Nyberg and Sophie Shaw rounding out your top 10.
Let me take the D's now, as this is, again, Europe, Middle East, and Africa women's category. The D's with Beth Higgs for a monster win. Steph White, silver. Kate Barnes in third for the bronze. Then we've got Jay Gravel in fourth. Lizzie Archer, fifth. Amanda Chambers in sixth. Angie in seventh. Chelsea Williams in eighth. Jolene Galbraith in ninth. And Melanie Jefferson rounding out our top 10 in another hard-fought battle out there. Good job, ladies.
Now, I'm wondering if we can get what their point
there you
of
go.
view was on Jaden, because perhaps our connection to the server was a little bit different than everybody else's. We'll have to wait and see. But Jaden Yaga coming across for 58. Oh, and now we've got an update. It looks like perhaps coming from. Well, just give us a minute here.
It might be adjusting something.
I think
Yeah,
they're
we'll hold
adjusting.
on.
Yeah, we're there's some data adjustments. It looks like being told there's a bear in the server. It says that there's a bear. They're in
I was
Canada.
hoping that they could next.
The WTRL is in Canada. So I'm being told there's a bear.
It doesn't sound good.
Bear with servers. I'm saying the servers are struggling a little bit, everybody. So I'm just kidding, Martin. Martin got mad at me. All caps. Bear with. There's no bear in the server. So I appreciate Martin very much and all the work that they're doing, everybody. So now, if you want to tune in later tonight as well, we still have the Americas East and West men's and women's. I'm going to be here with Dave for the East. Dave's going to be hanging out with Kate Bates for the West edition as well. So make sure to go ahead and head on over to both of the scheduled live streams. They are on our YouTube as well as our Facebook. You can hit those follow and notification buttons to know any time that we are going live, as well as getting notifications when we do go live. So whenever we do schedule a broadcast, you do get a notification if you hit that all for notifications, or anytime that we do go live. Also, registration closes tomorrow. I think it's going to be open still until tomorrow, unless it's a special one for this week, because it is the WTRL Team Time Trial World Championships. WTRL World Championships for their team time trial will be this week, Thursday. You still have time to register until 1 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. UK time. And it is the other hottest thing out on Zwift. I mean, it's kind of a competition now at this point between the Tuesday ZRL and the WTRL. I mean, we've got 5,000 racers, 100 countries, 1,000 teams or something on Thursdays. We've got like 7,000 racers, I'm being told, or something like that on a regular basis on Tuesdays. Time zones across the board. You've got 10, 11 zones, 12 zones, something like that. I mean, there's just more zones than I can count at this point. They're always adding new ones on Thursdays. And then we've got all of the regions here on Tuesdays. I mean, WTRL are killing it here, breaking world records left and right. But TTT World Championship, I'm excited for it on Thursday. It's still time to sign up, Dave.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute blast. And then we've got the nations races, world championships. Never been a better time to be into esports than right now. But Nathan, I do want to thank all of the racers, all the way from the A's to the D's. You put on quite a show for us. I know that you race your hearts out. So thanks for being out there. You truly are the gladiators of Zwift.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like GCM boys are all cooling down now. You did see them being a part
They're
of the
okay.
broadcast.
They all lived.
They look like they're okay. I think Sai's looking at his results right now, like what just happened. If you want to check out that video, they'll be releasing that video. I believe it's in the next week or so, about what the ZRL is all about, what their experience was like. You saw the suffering. They'll do a great job. Very high quality recording over there. I am seeing the server. It doesn't. I mean, we've got a full on error 524, whatever that is. So I have a feeling we're gonna have a struggle at 524, guys. Coming back up, taking some time to reboot. I'm being told we'll wait up. We'll wait up for that. Give it a little bit of an explanation about something we have been talking about, and this is going to be the nations race that is coming up. So December 5th and 6th, the Nations Challenge. If you haven't checked it out, you don't have to do anything but show up. Okay. And, Australia, France, Norway, Sweden, Austria, Germany, Poland, Switzerland, Belgium, Ireland, Portugal, the Netherlands, Canada, Italy, South Africa, United Kingdom, Colombia, Japan, Spain, United States, Denmark, New Zealand. And then there will be also a race for the rest of the world. And essentially, this is a team time trial. 44 events total, 2 events for each country here. It is your top 22 countries by subscription. So the more, if you had enough Zwifters to make that top 22, you got into the Nations Challenge, and the fastest time set by the nation will be taken as the winner of the Nations Challenge. So it's going to be interesting to see how this ends up playing out, Dave.
It's interesting when you look at nations like Ireland and Belgium. Belgium is maybe 10 million people. Ireland more like less than 5 million. It's this is based on subscriptions. That's very impressive that they're right in the middle there. I mean, obviously, the United States has, what are we at? 350, maybe more like 400 million people living here now. So very impressive job. It's going to be so exciting to have. Those aren't in any particular order, I'm guessing. Those are just the 22 nations that are represented. Yeah, that would make sense that those just represent the nations in no order there. But it's going to be such a fun experience.
Looks like we took care of the 524. I think we're on to 525 now here, Dave. So Jane Yager across the line, 58-22.
That's encouraging.
Austin. It is. 2 seconds back, it looks like. So it'd be interesting if we saw some live streams of how that ended up playing out. James Barnes, go check out James Barnes over on Twitch TV. He will most likely have a first-person point of view of how this played out as well. Klaus Nielsen, DZR there. As you can see, Reese Hollis, Cormac McGill, followed up by James Barnes there for 6. Alexandre Gagnon, like a canyon, coming across the line there in 7th place. Ben Thomas there, followed up by Brett Boniface. And then it's going to be Ali Peckover coming across the line for 10.
And it looks like we have the Bees ready to go as well. Warwick Stockdale taking the win. Ewan Dowes in 2nd with a lot of Joe Forrester and then Carl Atkinson rounding out our top 4 as we have Jackson Fellows in 5th, John O'Martin for 6th, JP McCanny 7th, Lasse Axelson in 8th, Jan Prut in 9th, and Rodney Young rounds out our top 10 there for the Bees out of the West Division 1. These are men that we're looking at. Throw it back to you, Nathan, for the C's.
Morten Hoff Peterson coming on through for 1st place. Thomas Reinecke, and then Krishnan McDonald. Good to see us, Krishnan, in that 3rd place there. Basti Larkin, and then Adam Bubb. Toon Bilemakers there, followed up by Arbav, and then David Verbeis. Domian, also maybe related there, also to Tim.
Tim.
Sam Richardson there coming on through for 10.
And here we go with Damon Leake taking the win in the Division D. Yame Ar in 2nd. Tim Mennel 3rd. Sean Carr for 4th. Dave Roberts, Jason Blackburn, Stevie Burke, Gabriel Moram Silva, Craig Perkins, and Gareth Hilton rounding out our top 10 for the D's. So that's it. I'm sorry, the E's. Simon, congratulations, Simon Richardson. Oh, I see what we have. These are our GCN friends, Nathan. Simon, you're a monster. So Simon Richardson takes it for the GCN boys. Hank fights his way to the silver medal. And then Sebastian Aedo, the Argentinian assassin there. A big fan, Sebastian Aedo. And he's going to round out our top 3 there for the GCN boys.
I believe Connor may be still finishing up there. I'm not positive. But yeah, good job to them. They're doing a little bit of a presentation, it looks like, as well. So finishing up, having a conversation about how incredibly hard the day was, I have a feeling. As it's no joke. I have a feeling you're going to see what the pain is really all about. If you want to get involved as well, you can check out Racing Anytime over on Zwift. And make sure to jump on into that TTT as well. One of the funnest things you can possibly do is on Thursdays. So James Barnes did link his Twitch, and you guys, I do encourage you as a community channel. We love to support all the community streamers that are out there. That's where this all started 5 years ago. I was the first community streamer out on Zwift, January 2015, February 2015. I set up, invested in a streaming setup and just started riding and streaming it. And within 6 months, we were doing this stuff in front of a microphone. So, um, I definitely love to support all of the up and coming streamers out there. Head on over to Twitch, search Zwift in the game search, or you can also find us on Facebook Gaming as well. There's plenty of them doing, as well as there's some streams obviously over on YouTube. YouTube tends to generate more for the content creators though. So GP Llama, you'll see a lot of Laverick and others that already have a good following for VODs. A lot of times the live streaming focuses do build a better community on Twitch or Facebook. So, and we appreciate you, James. I see that chat. So that's going to be up from them, Nathan Guerra, Dave Towle, Zwift Community Live. We got a lot more broadcasting to go for the rest of the day. We've got America's East in just a few hours, America's West. We'll be back here. If you haven't hit those follow buttons, do so you can get notifications, and we'll see you in just a couple hours. As always, everybody, thanks for tuning in, and a big old ride on.